Create the supreme fairyland in the era of universal lords. Chapter 1. On the plaza of Donghai No. 1 High School in Donghai City, Donghai Province, on the Blue Star. Long queues had formed early, stretching as far as the eye could see. Yet, the long lines were incredibly quiet, with no one making a sound. In the center of the plaza was an altar carved from white jade, spanning 1,000 jong. Extending downwards from the altar were 81 steps, and on either side of each step stood a coiled dragon stone pillar. Standing at the bottom, one could feel its solemnity, majesty, and sacredness. Next, Li Chenxiao. A young man dressed in a star-patterned robe, his hair tied with a jade hairpin like an immortal, stood on the altar. He spoke in a clear voice, which, though not loud, resonated throughout the entire plaza, sounding like a divine whisper in everyone's ears. On the ascending steps, everyone stared intently ahead. At the very front of the queue, a young man slowly emerged. He appeared to be about 1.85 meters tall, dressed in white clothes, with a faint smile in his star-like eyes, giving off a refreshing aura that immediately made people feel favorably towards him. Li Chenxiao walked onto the altar, cupped his hands towards the young man on it, and said, "Li Chenxiao greets you, sir." Although the man looked young, barely in his early 20s, Li Chenxiao dared not underestimate him in the slightest. This was the Lord era, an era where gods and devils manifested. Powerful lords could maintain eternal youth and live for a long time. Although Donghai City was just a small third-tier city, the Blue Star in this world was tens of thousands of times larger than Earth in his previous life. The strength of someone who could become an escort for a city was unimaginable. You read that right, Li Chenxiao was not originally from this world. He was an ordinary office worker from Earth. During a weekend break, he went shopping and stumbled upon an antique street. He saw a lotus carved from green jade. Although it had many cracks, its beauty remained undeniable. The moment Li Chenxiao saw it, he couldn't tear his eyes away. After much haggling, exhausting all his saliva, he finally acquired it. After returning home, Li Chenxiao carefully placed the lotus on the table, afraid it might break. He then gently caressed the cracks on the lotus. When he touched the lotus, he felt a sharp pain. He had accidentally pricked his hand, and blood flowed onto it. The lotus emitted a blue light that shot towards Li Chenxiao. By the time Li Chenxiao woke up, he had already arrived in this Lord era and had become a newborn baby, sent to an orphanage without even seeing his parents. The only consolation was that in this life, Li Chenxiao's name was still Li Chenxiao. He also learned the name of the cracked lotus he bought in his previous life, Chaos Azure Lotus, a primordial supreme treasure. It had come with him to this world and was now deep within his mind. Primordial supreme treasures are magical artifacts that are free from karma, indestructible through all calamities, and control destiny. They are born from chaos and possess the power to create heaven and earth and reshape the primordial. As an old bookworm from his previous life, how could Li Chenxiao not know the power of the Chaos Azure Lotus? It was almost the strongest primordial supreme treasure, the very existence that nurtured Pangu. Even after its destruction during the creation of the world, the treasures formed from its fragments were all incredibly famous. In any novel about the primordial era, the Chaos Azure Lotus was always among the top 3. However, after arriving in this world, the Chaos Azure Lotus had never shown any reaction, which greatly frustrated Li Chenxiao. Nevertheless, being able to come to this magnificent world with his memories, and with the experience of 2 lives, Li Chenxiao believed he could definitely carve out his own path. Looking at the bright and handsome young man before him, the escort couldn't help but reveal a faint smile. Such polite young people were rare. Escorts changed every year, and after this time, they might never interact again. He glanced at the scroll in his hand again and spoke gently, "Li Chenxiao, Class 6, Grade 3, Donghai No. 1 High School, 18 years old. Is that correct?" "Yes," Li Chenxiao replied. The young man moved aside, gesturing for the youth to pass. Li Chenxiao took a deep breath and quickly walked to the center of the altar. After Li Chenxiao entered the center of the altar, the young man immediately began to solemnly recite the prayer to heaven. Today was the annual Heavenly Prayer Festival. On this day every year, all citizens aged 18 in major cities across the Blue Star would participate in the heavenly prayer. This young man was the escort sent by the nation. As for why it was 18 years old, it was because at 18, a person's body and soul reached the standard for the heavenly prayer. Everyone could only awaken their Lord's heart once. Awakening early might lower the quality of the Lord's heart. What could have been an orange epic might become a purple outstanding if awakened prematurely. The quality of a Lord's heart is almost impossible to improve. At least, Li Chenxiao had never heard of anyone whose Lord's heart could be upgraded since he transmigrated. The escort's duties were twofold. One was to guide the new generation of young people through the heavenly prayer, to awaken their Lord's heart, and become lords. The other was to protect the city's young people to ensure their awakening proceeded normally and without assassination. In this Lord era, there were not only humans but also the myriad races of the heavens. This was a world where countless races vied for supremacy, with numerous species and a multitude of powerful individuals. The quality of a Lord's heart is divided into white common, green excellent, blue fine, purple outstanding, orange epic, and golden legend. The quality of a Lord's heart can also be considered a person's potential. The higher the quality level of the awakened Lord's heart, the greater their future achievements. Most awaken a white common quality. Without significant opportunities, their achievements in life are limited, and they will spend the rest of their lives in mediocrity. A small number awaken green excellent or blue fine quality. With effort and a bit of luck, they might become powerful individuals in the future, though the chance of becoming powerful is 1 in 10,000. A very small number awaken purple outstanding quality. Most of them can become powerful individuals, with a probability of becoming immortals or gods, and achieving eternal life. An extremely small number awaken orange epic quality. As long as no accidents occur, there is a very high probability of becoming immortals or gods and achieving eternal life. The rarest is golden legend quality. Every single one, as long as they don't die prematurely, is destined to become an immortal or god, and their path extends far beyond just becoming an immortal or god. The Lord era also went through countless dark times, developing and growing step by step to become one of the strong among the myriad races of the heavens. In the early days of the Lord era, the escorts were served by the city lords of each city, but several epochs ago, they were attacked by hostile races. Many cities were attacked in that incident. Although the nation quickly suppressed it, the losses were severe, with several immortals and gods dying. That year, dozens of those who awakened purple outstanding quality or above were killed or injured, including 5 newly awakened orange epic lords. From then on, escorts were selected by the nation and no longer served by local city lords. To prevent such incidents from happening again, each escort would only guide awakenings in a city once. Finally, the escort finished reciting the prayer to heaven. A brilliant light burst forth from the center of the altar, transforming into streams of starlight, imbued with an ancient charm, enveloping Li Chenxiao, slowly lifting him, and holding him suspended in midair. Heaven and earth cycle, grace all beings, the flame of civilization never dies, and humanity prospers forever. With a loud shout from the escort, countless starlights surged into Li Chenxiao's body, like a dream. This is. Li Chenxiao's eyes widened, a little disbelieving. As countless starlights entered his body, most of them rushed towards the chaos azure lotus in his mind, while a small portion slowly seeped into his body. Li Chenxiao only felt that some kind of change was occurring in his body, a change at the level of life itself, encompassing both body and soul, an indescribable, profound feeling. After an unknown period, Li Chenxiao woke up. He descended from midair, stood in the center of the altar, and stretched out his hand. In his palm, a blue ball of light had appeared. The escort gently said to Li Chenxiao, "A blue fine quality Lord's heart. Not bad at all. Work hard to develop, and you might well become a powerful individual. And with a bit more luck, it's possible to become an immortal or god in the future, and achieve eternal life. Thank you for your guidance, sir." Li Chenxiao once again cupped his hands towards the escort, then, holding his lord's heart, turned and walked off the altar. Back home, Li Chenxiao lay on the sofa, watching the chaos azure lotus in his mind slowly rotate, beautiful and enchanting. Each time he saw it, it was captivating, and this time was no different from before. Li Chenxiao slowly closed his eyes, recalling the reaction of the chaos azure lotus just now. After 18 years of transmigrating, the chaos azure lotus had remained still. Now that it had a reaction, it must be related to the Lord. The lack of reaction before was because he had not become a lord. He suddenly opened his eyes, which were filled with ambition. Reborn into this vibrant great world, if he couldn't carve out his own path, he might as well find a block of tofu and smash his head against it. Originally, with the experience of 2 lives, he only had a 50% chance, but with the help of the Chaos Azure Lotus, this chance increased to 90%. Although he still didn't know the specific function of the Chaos Azure Lotus, given its renowned name, it wouldn't be too bad. He no longer hesitated. Grabbing the Lord's heart, a thought swept through him, and the Lord's heart instantly burst forth with brilliant light, transforming into streaks of flowing light that entered Li Chenxiao's body. The next moment, a virtual information panel appeared in Li Chenxiao's mind. Lord. Territory. Descent. Lord and territory are abilities of the Lord's heart, primarily used to assist the Lord in managing his territory. The Lord can adjust and deploy the entire territory through the Lord's heart. Descent is a gateway to the endless void. The Lord can conquer the endless void through descent, becoming a god or an ancestor, or be buried within the void. The prayer festival will last for about a week. During this period, time is relatively free, and students don't have to go to school. After the prayer festival, they will collectively return to school to collect their rewards. First, let's check the territory attributes. I hope my territory trait is a good one. With a nervous heart, Li Chenxiao opened the territory panel. Territory. Unnamed. Owner. Li Chenxiao. Level. 10400. Area. 400 square meters. Existing buildings. Thatched cottage, level 1, fence, level 1. Residence. 0. Territory trait. 2 lives of singleness. Before descending into the endless void, all lords, buildings are the same, only a thatched cottage and a fence. They are level 1, and there are 0 residents. The only differences are the varying expandable areas based on the quality of the Lord's heart, and the unique territory traits. White common has an initial area of 100 square meters, green excellent is 200 square meters, blue fine is 400 square meters, purple outstanding is 800 square meters, orange epic is 1600 square meters, and golden legend is 3200 square meters. The larger the area, the more territory buildings can be placed, but the defensive pressure also increases. Each level upgrade requires double the experience, and the territory area increases by 3,200 multiplied by the current level. Subsequently, lords can choose whether to expand their territory based on their needs. For example, a golden legend with an initial area of 3,200 square meters can expand to 9,600 square meters after reaching level 2. If the defensive pressure is too great, he can choose not to expand for the time being, keeping it at 3,200 square meters, and expand later. Li Chenxiao primarily focused on the territory trait. 2 lives of singleness. Quality. Fine. Attribute. All female residents within the territory gain plus 30% to all attributes. 2 lives of singleness. Li Chenxiao felt numb when he saw this. What was wrong with being single? This could actually become a territory trait. Although he had heard that territory traits were bizarre and almost never the same, with some truly odd ones among them, he never expected one to happen to him. If this trait applied to all residents plus 30%, Li Chenxiao would be much happier. But it's limited to females, which makes it a bit of a chicken rib. Female residents summoned are already few, it's good if 1 or 2 out of 10 summoned are female. In this case, this trait is not as popular as one that adds 10% to all residents. Li Chenxiao felt like spitting blood. After a while, he finally accepted this fact and continued to look at the Lord panel to check his own attributes. Lord. Territory. Unnamed. Race. Human. Level. 1. Constitution. 1. Spirit. 2. Bound treasure. Chaos Azure Lotus. Inventory. None. The attributes of an ordinary young person are 1. Very common attributes. The spirit being 2 is likely due to his 2 lives after transmigrating, making his spirit higher than that of an ordinary person. Other than that, he is no different from an ordinary lord. Wait, I have a bound treasure, a cheat. Just as Li Chenxiao was wondering what the Chaos Azure Lotus did, he suddenly saw it on his attribute panel. As a top student at Donghai No. 1 High School, Li Chenxiao knew that everyone started with the same attributes and no treasures whatsoever. Li Chenxiao's thought swept over the Chaos Azure Lotus. The Chaos Azure Lotus in his mind emitted a green light, and its attribute panel also appeared in Li Chenxiao's mind. Chaos Azure Lotus. Type: World Wonder. Quality: Supreme, damaged. Attribute 1. Creation. As a primordial treasure, it can bestow the ability to evolve upon all things, limited to territory buildings obtained by the Lord and rewards. Only rewards that are territory buildings can evolve, others cannot. Attribute 2. Shielding. As a primordial treasure, it shields against all deductions and counterattacks the opponent. It can be toggled on or off as per the Lord's needs. Attribute 3. Territory level insufficient. Attribute 4. Territory level insufficient. Attribute 5. Territory level insufficient. A hint of shock appeared in Li Chenxiao's eyes. At Donghai No. 1 high school, teachers had taught information about world wonders. World wonders are a type of primordial treasure, possibly nurtured by the world or created by heaven and earth, bizarre and possessing all sorts of attributes. World wonders are also divided into white common, green excellent, blue fine, purple outstanding, orange epic, and golden legend. Li Chenxiao had long known that the Chaos Azure Lotus was of no low grade and had some conjectures about it, but he never expected its grade to be so high, to be of the unheard of supreme grade. However, thinking of the Chaos Azure Lotus's great reputation in his previous life, he felt that supreme was only natural. World wonders enhance the attributes of the entire territory, surpassing ordinary immortal and divine treasures. Most lords do not possess world wonders, and even many families with immortals and gods do not have them, which shows how rare world wonders are. 10 years ago, Li Chenxiao read a news report about a lord who descended into the void and found a white common world wonder in the ruins of a shattered world. He was overjoyed. After returning, he publicly auctioned the world wonder. At that time, hundreds of immortals and gods participated in the bidding. Becoming rich overnight is truly like this. Li Chenxiao's heart was filled with excitement. A white common world wonder attracted so many immortals and gods to bid. If his supreme grade 1 were auctioned, it might attract all the immortals and gods of the entire Lord era to participate. Of course, Li Chenxiao only thought about it. If he dared to put it up for auction, he would be found dead on the street the next day, and it would be the kind where his soul scatters, never to be reincarnated. Li Chenxiao understood the principle that an innocent man is guilty because of his treasure. Moreover, the Chaos Azure Lotus was already bound. After a long while, Li Chenxiao finally calmed down and carefully studied the description of the Chaos Azure Lotus. Currently, there are 2 functions. The first is evolution, which can evolve anything, limited to territory buildings obtained by the Lord himself. Traded ones cannot be evolved. Once evolved, they cannot be traded. The second is shielding, which can shield against all deductions. The first one goes without saying, it can evolve low-quality items into higher-quality ones. The specific extent of evolution will only be known after descending into the void. As for the limitations, Li Chenxiao realized that if traded items could evolve, directly trading hundreds or thousands of arrow towers or other territory buildings would make one invincible. As it is, it's still quite good, at least he won't have to worry about high-quality territory buildings. The second function is for self-preservation. Descending into the void is not without risks. Besides the inherent risks of the void itself, there are internal and external threats. External threats are hostile races, and internal threats are traitors or offended enemies. If one is deduced by an enemy after descending into the void, it's basically over. This shielding function ensures that Li Chenxiao will not be deduced by anyone after descending into the void, and it even reflects damage back to the opponent. Evolution is only effective for the territory, but I wonder if it's effective for territory characteristics. Thinking of this, Li Chenxiao opened the territory attribute panel. He saw a plus icon appear next to territory characteristics. Territory characteristic: 2 lifetimes of solitude plus. Li Chenxiao's eyes lit up as he clicked on the plus icon. The Chaos Azure Lotus shot a divine light towards the territory characteristic. After the divine light dissipated, the territory information and characteristics changed. Territory: unnamed. Owner: Li Chenxiao. Level: 103,200. Area: 3,200 square meters. Buildings owned: thatched cottage, level 1, fence, level 1. Residence: 0. Territory characteristic: Taiyan Heavenly Palace. Quality. Golden Legend. Attribute 1. All attributes of female residents in the territory are multiplied by 10. Attribute 2. Female residents in the territory remain youthful forever, their appearance staying at its peak. Attribute 3. Female residents in the territory gain +1 bloodline. If they have no bloodline, they are granted a bloodline no lower than Golden Legend quality. Attribute 4. Female residents in the territory gain +1 talent. If they have no talent, they are granted a talent no lower than Golden Legend quality. Attribute 5. When acquiring heroes or troops, the probability of summoning a beautiful woman is 100%. Attribute 6. Territory building attributes are multiplied by 10. Attribute 7. Requires higher lord level to unlock. Attribute 8. Requires higher lord level to unlock. Attribute 9. Requires higher lord level to unlock. Li Chenxiao stared at the changed territory characteristics, unable to recover his senses for a long time. This was the legendary territory characteristic. No wonder those with a golden lord's heart in history, as long as they didn't perish prematurely, became world-shaking figures. Secrecy, absolute secrecy. Both the Chaos Azure Lotus and the new territory characteristic. They are already so terrifying now. Once the lord level increases, they will become even more formidable in the future. Li Chenxiao paced back and forth in the living room, pondering for a long time, then left his house to prepare supplies for the descent into the void. Time flew by, and a week quickly passed. Today was the day to return to school to receive rewards, after which he could begin his descent into the void. Li Chenxiao had finished washing up early and, after breakfast, went straight to school, Donghai No. 1 High School. As the only key high school in Donghai City, Donghai No. 1 High School held a transcendent status, located in the city center, covering 3,000 mu, with top-tier campus facilities and teaching staff. Li Chenxiao was a student who had just entered his third year of high school this year. After swiping his student ID, he smoothly entered the campus. At this time, it was around 8 a.m., when classes were about to start, so the campus was bustling with people coming and going. The education system in this life was somewhat different from his previous one. Generally, there were 2 classes in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. Morning for liberal arts, afternoon for martial arts. Liberal arts mainly taught knowledge related to lords, void descent, myriad races of the heavens, strange objects, territory construction, and other knowledge of the myriad realms. Martial arts mainly taught combat-related knowledge, including territory wars, invasions by myriad races, tower defense, team coordination, and other knowledge related to territory combat. Li Chenxiao arrived in his class and found that many people were missing. He knew that those who hadn't come likely hadn't awakened a lord's heart and hadn't become lords. Although it was now the lord era for all, not everyone could awaken a lord's heart. The probability of awakening one was about 50%. People who hadn't awakened a lord's heart generally had 2 options. One was to follow national arrangements, marry someone who also hadn't awakened a lord's heart, then have children. After the children were born, the state would arrange for them to be raised in an orphanage until they were 18. The second option was to enter another lord's territory and work for them. However, this also had drawbacks, namely a lifelong lack of freedom. If the lord perished, they would perish 100%, unless the lord cancelled the contract, in which case the lord's demise would have no impact. If they were lucky, they could become a powerful figure. If unlucky, they might perish directly in the void. After a while, the homeroom teacher walked in directly. During this time, a few more people arrived sporadically. Homeroom teachers were always martial arts teachers, who were generally decisive people. After the homeroom teacher entered, she simply said, "Follow me," and then turned and left the classroom. The students in the class silently got up and followed the homeroom teacher out of the classroom, heading towards the administration building. Upon arriving at the administration building, the homeroom teacher led everyone directly to the 5th floor, into a spacious and bright hall. At this time, many people were already seated in the hall, tens of thousands of them, densely packed. Although there were many people, it was exceptionally quiet. Regarding Li Chenxiao and his classmates' arrival, everyone merely glanced at them and then paid no further attention. Li Chenxiao found a seat and sat down. Looking back, the homeroom teacher had already left the hall. In the country, every lord who successfully prayed to the heavens could receive national rewards, which were some basic materials that could greatly alleviate the difficulties faced by new lords in the early stages. The basic materials received by every new lord were the same, even for prominent families with immortals. The first 30 days for new lords were a trial period. The more items they brought during the trial, the more valuable the treasures, the stronger the monsters encountered during the trial. Once, an immortal gave a powerful immortal treasure to a favored junior, which led to the monsters the junior encountered during the trial being ridiculously strong, causing that junior to directly withdraw from the trial. This resulted in slow development later, transforming a prodigy into an ordinary lord. These were lessons learned through blood. The longer one persevered in the trial, the better the rewards. This was also one of the opportunities for ordinary lords to narrow the gap with families. During the trial, everyone was treated equally. After a while, a stunningly beautiful woman with a cold demeanor slowly walked in from the hall entrance. She was 1.70 meters tall, wearing a white dress, and her unadorned face carried a hint of coldness, making people awestruck and preventing any thoughts of disrespect. Li Chenxiao knew that this was the principal of Donghai No. 1 high school, named Leng Rushuang, who came from the capital. Li Chenxiao had only seen her a few times from afar during his 2 years of high school. Leng Rushuang came to the back of the hall, faced everyone, and slowly began, "Congratulations on becoming lords, officially stepping into this passionate, exciting, and myriad-raced lord era." Upon hearing this, everyone in the hall showed excited expressions. 18 years of arduous study and struggle, wasn't it all for this very moment? Many even shed tears of excitement. In the lord era for all, only by becoming a lord could one truly experience the essence of this era. And only by becoming a lord could one enjoy certain national privileges. Over the years, you have acquired sufficient knowledge in school, but to avoid any accidents, I still need to remind everyone of 2 things. For new lords, the first month is a trial period. Although it is a trial, there are still certain dangers. If you cannot persevere, you must quickly escape the void. Only by being alive are there infinite possibilities. However, if you make good use of this month, the longer you persevere, the richer the rewards. This is also your opportunity to leap over the dragon's gate. If you can persevere, try your best to do so. I believe you all understand the importance of opportunity. Next are the rewards from the nation. After Leng Rushuang finished speaking, she extended her hand, revealing a ball of light. With a powerful wave, the light ball split into countless light dots, shooting towards the people in the hall. Each person had a light dot in front of them. The light dots slowly dissipated, revealing a few items: a altar, a barracks, a military talisman, and 10 void source crystals. Li Chenxiao's eyes moved, and he immediately put all the items into his inventory. This was the nationally standardized reward for new players, everyone received the same. After the first descent into the void, there would be a 30-day void trial. This was a new lord trial period that every new lord would experience. During these 30 days of trial, only the altar, barracks, and military talisman, along with a small amount of resources, could be carried. During these 30 days, the void would reward new lords based on their performance. There were no penalties for poor performance, which is why it was an opportunity to leap over the dragon's gate. The longer one persisted, the richer the rewards. These rewards might be icing on the cake, or even dispensable, for the immortal or god descendants from immortal or divine families. However, there were also many lords within immortal or divine families, and not all immortal or god descendants could obtain the best resources from their families. Therefore, many lords from immortal or divine families also highly valued the rewards from these 30 days. After the trial, the gap between ordinary lords and those from immortal or divine families would begin to widen. Lords from immortal or divine families could receive support in the form of high-quality troops, heroes, buildings, and so on. During the trial, everyone is on the same starting line. I will definitely not be worse than others, I must get the best reward. Yes, this is our chance to surpass those immortal and god descendants. In the future, I also want to establish an immortal or divine family and become a patriarch. During the trial, there are still dangers. I'll just develop cautiously. After all, there's hope only if I'm alive. Resource allocation must be reasonable. As long as we get through the early stage and obtain enough void source crystals, we can fight to support our growth. Becoming stronger and stronger. As long as luck is good, surviving 30 days is not difficult. The difficulty is surviving 30 days and getting better performance and evaluation. The crowd in the hall immediately began to discuss. Some were excited, some had ambitious expressions, some were calm, and others looked timid. The expressions of the crowd varied. Looking at the different expressions of the crowd, Li Chenxiao's lips curved upwards slightly. They say the poor fear the rich fear geniuses, and geniuses fear cheaters. And he, Li Chenxiao, was a cheater, and the one with the biggest cheat. I, Li Chenxiao, will gladly accept the best reward for this void trial. If I can't get first place with such a huge cheat, I might as well find a place to kill myself. I can't afford to lose face like that. Thinking this, Li Chenxiao's lips curved upwards again. Quiet. A clear, cold voice echoed in everyone's ears, instantly silencing the noisy hall. Finally, I wish you all excellent results and hope you become pillars of the nation in the future. After saying this, Leng Rushuang slowly dissipated before their eyes, having indeed departed. Li Chenxiao returned home from the hall, first took a shower, then took out the alloy longsword from the living room and placed it in his inventory. After checking his supplies and confirming nothing was missing, he opened the Lord's Heart panel in his mind, Lord Territory Descent. Li Chenxiao took a deep breath and clicked on the third option, Descent. Territory detected. Do you wish to descend into the endless void? Yes, no. Yes. Beginning descent. Li Chenxiao's vision went black, and he fainted. Legend has it that the endless void is the beginning and end of all worlds and all universes. If you are fortunate, you might witness the birth or destruction of a world. The myriad realms and the endless void have been continuously explored from the Lord era until now, yet no Lord dares claim to truly understand the endless void. Legend has it that the endless void is the origin of all worlds and all universes. Worlds or universes are born from the endless void, slowly developing and growing, eventually forming individual worlds or universes. There is also a legend that the endless void is the end of all worlds and all universes. When a world or universe reaches its limit and begins to perish, it will be buried in the endless void. Therefore, the endless void holds infinite wealth, limitless possibilities, and unimaginable terrors. It is precisely this allure of the endless void that makes all the lords of the Lord era flock to descend into the void, not even missing a single opportunity for descent, even if it means perishing within the endless void. Descent is the means by which lords of the Lord world enter the endless void, descending their territories into the boundless void world. Everything is random: location, opportunities, and dangers. However, the endless void has an eternal law, the law of balance, also known as the law of the scales. The stronger the territory and the more people it has, the stronger the dangers it will encounter. Newbie lords will not descend into an area of certain death, cold, hard. This was Li Chenxiao's first sensation upon waking. He realized he was lying on the ground, quickly stood up, and looked around. This was a valley. Although it was a valley, its area was not small, sufficient for early development. This valley could only be entered through its southern mouth, the other three sides were sheer cliffs. Void monsters could only invade from the south, making it an easily defensible and difficult to attack terrain. As long as the south was held, he wouldn't be attacked from all four sides. A valley environment was considered one of the better environments for a descent into the endless void. In the very center of the valley, a wooden fence enclosed a 3,200 square meter space, with a small wooden house at its core. This 3,200 square meter area was his territory. Li Chenxiao smiled slightly. His luck had improved significantly since he awakened as a lord. Suddenly, a stream of information flowed into Li Chenxiao's mind. Newborn lord, this is your first descent into the endless void. The novice trial will begin soon. Please prepare. For 30 days, a monster tide will appear once daily. The monster tides will grow stronger as time progresses. Slaying monsters can earn void rewards. If you withdraw midway, the novice trial fails. There are no penalties, but also no rewards. Lords who successfully endure for 30 days will receive void rewards based on their performance during this period. Friendly reminder. Act within your capabilities. While rewards are important, life is more important. Without life, there is nothing. Although Li Chenxiao had learned all this in school, hearing it firsthand still made his heart pound with excitement. Li Chenxiao suppressed his excitement and directly took out the altar from his inventory. He tossed the altar's architectural model onto the open ground next to his territory's small house. As soon as the altar was thrown, it grew rapidly, getting larger and larger. Finally, it transformed into an ancient altar and landed next to the small house. The first thing lords summon after their descent into the void is a hero. The reason for this lies in the rules of void summoning and the qualities of troops, barracks, and heroes. Barracks qualities are divided into white common, green excellent, blue fine, purple outstanding, orange epic, and golden legend. Troops qualities are divided into white common, green excellent, blue fine, purple outstanding, orange epic, and golden legend. Summoning troops works best with a military talisman and barracks. Without a military talisman, a barracks cannot summon troops. However, if you only have a military talisman, you can only summon one troop, and the military talisman disappears permanently after the summoning. If a military talisman is used with a barracks, the troops and barracks can be bound and solidified. As long as there are void source crystals and the barracks level is sufficient, theoretically, this troop can be summoned indefinitely. The best combination for barracks and troops is to bind and solidify those of the same quality. For example, a white barracks bound to a golden legend troop will summon a white troop. A golden barracks bound to a white military talisman will also summon a white troop. The summoned troop takes on the lowest quality between the two. If a golden barracks is bound to a golden military talisman, a golden quality troop will be summoned. A level 1 white troop has 1 in both constitution and spirit. For each level increase, the added attributes are constitution and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 means 1 plus 1x2 equals 3. Upgrading to level 3 means 1 plus 1x2 plus 1x3 equals 6, and so on. A level 1 green troop has 2 in both constitution and spirit. For each level increase, the added attributes are constitution and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 means 6. Upgrading to level 3 means 12, and so on. A level 1 blue troop has 4 in both constitution and spirit. For each level increase, the added attributes are constitution and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 means 12. Upgrading to level 3 means 24, and so on. A level 1 purple troop has 8 in both constitution and spirit. For each level increase, the added attributes are constitution and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 means 24. Upgrading to level 3 means 48, and so on. A level 1 orange troop has 16 in both constitution and spirit. For each level increase, the added attributes are constitution and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 means 48. Upgrading to level 3 means 96, and so on. A level 1 golden troop has 32 in both constitution and spirit. For each level increase, the added attributes are constitution and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 means 96. Upgrading to level 3 means 192, and so on. Besides the difference in attribute growth, different troop qualities also have varying numbers and power of skills. White has no skills, green has 1 skill, blue has 2 skills, purple has 3 skills, orange has 4 skills, and golden has 5 skills. Hero qualities are divided into white common, green excellent, blue fine, purple outstanding, orange epic, and golden legend. A level 1 white hero has twice the attributes of a level 1 white troop. A level 1 green hero has twice the attributes of a level 1 green troop. A level 1 blue hero has twice the attributes of a level 1 blue troop. A level 1 purple hero has 3 times the attributes of a level 1 purple troop. A level 1 orange hero has 4 times the attributes of a level 1 orange troop. A level 1 golden hero has 5 times the attributes of a level 1 golden troop. Heroes of different qualities also differ in attribute growth and the power bonus they provide to their subordinate soldiers. The number of skills, however, is the same as that of troops. Hero bonuses to soldiers are divided into normal bonuses and exclusive bonuses. There is no bonus between different types of heroes and troops. For example, a warrior hero leading mage troops will receive no bonus. Warrior heroes only receive bonuses when leading warrior troops. Both the hero and the troops benefit from this bonus, but a hero and troops can only enjoy one type of bonus. For example, if a hero commands a mix of exclusive troops and normal troops, the hero only enjoys the exclusive bonus, normal troops enjoy the normal bonus, and exclusive troops enjoy the exclusive bonus. Normal bonus. White hero 10% bonus, green hero 20% bonus, blue hero 30% bonus, purple hero 40% bonus, orange hero 50% bonus, golden hero 100% bonus. Exclusive bonus. The so-called exclusive bonus means that a hero's exclusive troops receive twice the normal bonus. A white hero's exclusive bonus is 20%, a green hero's exclusive bonus is 40%, a blue hero's exclusive bonus is 60%, a purple hero's exclusive bonus is 80%, an orange hero's exclusive bonus is 100%, and a golden hero's exclusive bonus is 200%. This is why lords in the Lord era pursue high-quality heroes and high-quality troops. The difference in quality is too vast. This is also why ordinary lords find it difficult to surpass immortal god families. While blue heroes and blue troops are hard for ordinary lords to obtain, immortal god families can easily provide them to their descendants. However, high quality isn't entirely invincible. It also depends on territory characteristics, territory development, and the level of heroes and troops. A level 10 white troop could potentially kill a level 1 golden legend troop. A level 10 white troop has 55 in both constitution and spirit attributes, while a level 1 golden legend troop only has 32. Even with skills, this cannot overcome the gap in levels and attributes. This is the charm of the Lord era, anything is possible. Low-quality lords can also defeat high-quality lords. The void source crystal required for summoning troops also depends on the troop's quality. One white troop consumes 10 void source crystals, one green troop consumes 20 void source crystals, one blue troop consumes 40 void source crystals, one purple troop consumes 80 void source crystals, one orange troop consumes 160 void source crystals, and one golden legend troop consumes 320 void source crystals. The number of troops that can be summoned is also determined by the barracks, quality and level. A level 1 white common barracks can recruit 320. For each level increase, the number increases by 320 multiplied by the current level. A level 1 green excellent barracks can recruit 160. For each level increase, the number increases by 160 multiplied by the current level. A level 1 blue fine barracks can recruit 80. For each level increase, the number increases by 80 multiplied by the current level. A level 1 purple outstanding barracks can recruit 40. For each level increase, the number increases by 40 multiplied by the current level. A level 1 orange epic barracks can recruit 20. For each level increase, the number increases by 20 multiplied by the current level. A level 1 golden legend barracks can recruit 10. For each level increase, the number increases by 10 multiplied by the current level. The upgrade of barracks is determined by the barracks, quality. White common. From level 1 to 2, void source stone consumption is 100. For each level increase, the consumption is the sum of 100 multiplied by the current level. For example, from level 4 to 5, it is 1000. Green excellent. From level 1 to 2, void source stone consumption is 200. For each level increase, the consumption is the sum of 200 multiplied by the current level. For example, from level 4 to 5, it is 2000. Blue fine. From level 1 to 2, void source stone consumption is 400. For each level increase, the consumption is the sum of 400 multiplied by the current level. For example, from level 4 to 5, it is 4000. Purple outstanding troops. From level 1 to 2, void source stone consumption is 800. For each level increase, the consumption is the sum of 800 multiplied by the current level. For example, from level 4 to 5, it is 8000. Orange epic troops. From level 1 to 2, void source stone consumption is 1600. For each level increase, the consumption is the sum of 1600 multiplied by the current level. For example, from level 4 to 5, it is 16,000. Golden legend troops. From level 1 to 2, void source stone consumption is 3200. For each level increase, the consumption is the sum of 3,200 multiplied by the current level. For example, from level 4 to 5, it is 32,000. Summoning heroes from an altar has a probability, and usually, people don't go for hero summoning. However, a newbie lord's first summon is guaranteed to be a hero. The cost is the same as a white troop, 10 void source crystals. Therefore, newbie lords always summon a hero for their first summon. No one would summon troops unless they were crazy or didn't want to pass the novice trial. Li Chenxiao took out 10 void source crystals and walked towards the altar. Upon reaching the altar, an attribute panel appeared in Li Chenxiao's mind. Altar plus. Level. 10100. Function. Summon 10, Advanced Summon 100. A very simple attribute panel. Seeing the plus sign on the altar, Li Chenxiao's heart was filled with excitement. He knew that the Chaos Azure Lotus's evolution function was at work. He just didn't know what the altar would evolve into, but it would definitely be better than its current state. Li Chenxiao clicked on the plus sign. A divine light shot from the Chaos Azure Lotus in his mind towards the altar. After the divine light dissipated, the altar transformed. The ancient altar turned into a pavilion carved from white jade. On either side of the pavilion's main gate stood a white jade pillar, each carved with a phoenix. Above the main gate, a plaque bore 5 large characters: Myriad Realms Goddess Palace. Myriad Realms Goddess Palace. Building type: altar. Level: 1010,000. Function: Summon 1000, Advanced Summon 10,000. Description: Special altar, unique, can summon female heroes from the myriad realms to fight for you, including those from movies, novels, TV series, anime, etc. from your previous life. Upon seeing this, even Li Chenxiao, with his strong inner fortitude, couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. As expected of the Chaos Azure Lotus, this cheat is quite powerful. Coming from the information explosive era of Blue Star, how could he not know the importance of these things? If each movie, novel, TV series, and anime were considered a world, this would be more than myriad realms, it would be an infinite number of worlds. Would it be possible for multiple duplicate characters to appear, given that some novels have been adapted into several versions? As he was pondering, the Myriad Realms Goddess Palace seemed to understand Li Chenxiao's thoughts. A stream of information flowed through his mind. Only one instance of a summoned character will appear. If the same character is summoned again, that character will not appear, but the potential of the already existing character will increase. Although there was a slight regret, Li Chenxiao was content. More importantly, only Li Chenxiao could summon these characters, which might be a privilege from Mother Earth. I like this cheat. Thinking of this, Li Chenxiao's heart stirred, and he walked towards the Divine Woman Palace. After entering the gate, what came into view was a quaint hall. On both sides of the hall were floor-to-ceiling screens, and on the screens were portraits of beautiful women, all lifelike, like fairies in the heavenly palace, some aloof and some delicate, each with their own characteristics. Inside the hall, there was a set of white jade carved tables and chairs, a white jade teapot, and several white jade teacups. Simple and elegant. After Li Chenxiao walked around the hall, he went to the table and sat down on the chair. He placed 10 void source crystal on the table. Summon. The 10 void source crystal disappeared in an instant, as if they had never appeared on the table. The next moment, above the table, a colorful scroll appeared. The scroll slowly opened, and figures appeared on it. Extracting. The figures in the scroll began to glow and spin rapidly. Suddenly, the light and shadow stopped, staying in a valley with 100 flowers blooming, in the middle of a hall, on the graceful figure sitting upright on the chair in the very center of the hall. Obtained Hero Yu Yao. In an instant, the scroll disappeared, and a stunning woman slowly appeared on the chair opposite Li Chenxiao, her eyes closed tightly, apparently receiving information about the Lord Era. Li Chenxiao quietly sized up this legendary figure in front of him. Yu Yao was a character in a martial arts novel from his previous life, the Grand Palace Master of Yue Palace, a martial arts holy land. She had an extremely beautiful face and a pair of bright eyes, with an otherworldly temperament and unparalleled elegance. Her voice was agile and ethereal, elusive, and although her tone was indifferent and ruthless, making people tremble, it was also clear, soft, and beautiful, captivating the soul. There is a saying circulating in the martial world: Zhang San Niang has external beauty, Yu Yao of the Deep Palace has the most beautiful color. Zhang San Niang is the number one beauty in the world, while Yu Yao is the number one beauty in the world. The former often appears in front of people, while the latter often stays in the Deep Palace. Even so, Yu Yao's beauty has always been circulating in the martial world, which shows that her appearance is peerless. Her personality is ruthless, but she is also obsessed with love. She is a very complex character, and also a very pitiful character. Even if she has everything, she will never get the one she loves in her life. Indifferent and ruthless, when she was young, in order to grab a ripe peach on a tree, she pushed her younger sister Lian Xing off the tree, causing her lifelong disability, and finally even killed Lian Xing. Obsessed with love, she only loved Zhang Feng from beginning to end. When she learned that Zhang Feng had fallen in love with Hua Yuanbi and eloped, Yu Yao directly forced Zhang Feng and Hua Yuanbi to death, and even made their children kill each other. It can be said that the novel, Peerless Twins, is based on Yu Yao's revenge for the betrayal of love. If there was no Yu Yao's obsession with love, there would be no novel, Peerless Twins. At this time, Yu Yao on the opposite chair also finished receiving the information and opened her eyes. She had bright eyes and white teeth. Her skin was like creamy jade, exquisite features, and a white dress, setting off her perfect figure and adding a bit of aloof elegance. A clear and cold voice sounded in Li Chenxiao's ear. Yu Yao of Yiwa Palace, greetings, young master. Li Chenxiao cupped his hands at Yu Yao and said, there is no need to be so polite. Welcome, Miss Yu Yao, to this Lord Great World. Please give me more guidance in the future. Only his expression was indescribably complicated. At this moment, Yu Yao noticed Li Chenxiao's expression and couldn't help but ask, young master, do you know me? I know a little. I wonder how young master knows me. Before answering this question, I would like to ask what time node you come from. Young master, could you be clearer? This little girl doesn't understand a bit. In layman's terms, it is a parallel time and space. Every moment will form a parallel plane. There may be countless Yu Yao in the myriad worlds. The one summoned to the Lord era can only be a Yu Yao from a certain time, such as youth, middle age, old age. Although it is the same person, the experience is different, and the cultivation realm is different. I am from my youth, not long after I just founded Yiwa Palace with my sister. Since young master knows me, can you tell me about the future? Of course, I will slowly tell you about your future. Now, let me take you to see my territory, so that we can deal with the monster invasion later. I will listen to young master's arrangements. Li Chenxiao hurriedly got up and walked out, with Yu Yao following closely behind. During this period, Li Chenxiao opened Yu Yao's attribute panel. Yu Yao. Identity. Hero. Race. Human. Quality. Golden Legend. Level. 101,600. Affection. 70. Bloodline. Moon God Bloodline +1. Talent. Flower Shifting Jade Connecting +1. Skills. Mingyu Skill, Wuyu Swordplay, Xingyan Swordplay, Tanyu Jiaxing, Suixin Palm. Exclusive Troops. Yiwa Palace. Bonds. 3 Beauties of Yiwa, unrivaled in the martial world. Bond attributes can be stacked. Constitution. 2100 Base Attribute 32x5x10 plus 10x5x10. Spirit. 2100 Base Attribute 32x5x10 plus 10x5x10. Moon God Bloodline, +1. Bloodline Quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Each time the quality is +1, the ability increases by 1 time. For example, Moon God Bloodline, +5. At night, the power of all attribute skills is multiplied by 5 times. Attribute. At night, the power of all attribute skills is doubled. Flower Shifting Jade Connecting, +1. Talent Quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Attribute. Flower Shifting Jade Connecting is divided into 9 layers, reflecting damage. Each layer reflects 10% of the opponent's attack and is true damage. The highest layer reflects 90% of the attack. Mingyu Skill. Skill Quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Mingyu Skill is divided into 9 layers. Each additional layer increases the base attributes of 10 points of Constitution and Spirit multiplied by the current hero's level. For example, Hero Level 15, Mingyu Skill Level 5, the increase is 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 plus 50 x 15 x 10. The last 10 is the territory characteristic, which is that constitution and spirit are increased by 22,500 respectively. Mingyu skill characteristic. When practiced to the 9th layer, a layer of transparent true energy shield appears around the body, and the defense of the shield is 10 times the current hero's constitution. Wuyu swordplay. Skill quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Wuyu swordplay is divided into 9 layers. Each additional layer increases the power of the swordplay by 10%. When practiced to a high level, it will form sword energy, sword intent, and sword domain. Xingyan swordplay. Skill quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Xingyan swordplay is divided into 9 layers. Each additional layer increases the weapon's attack by 10%, and each additional layer will produce one identical sword shadow. When practiced to the highest level, 10 sword shadows are slashed out with each sword swing, which can be used for group attacks. Tanyu Jiaxing. Skill quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Tanyu Jiaxing is divided into 9 layers. Each additional layer increases the movement speed by plus 100 meters s, and will add a phantom. Suixin Palm. Skill quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Suixin Palm is divided into 9 layers. Each additional layer reduces the enemy's constitution and spirit by 10% after hitting the enemy, and reduces the enemy's recovery speed. Yiwa Palace. Troops quality. Golden Legend. Summons Yiwa Palace disciples from any time and space. 3 beauties of Yiwa. Bond quality. Golden Legend. Bond attribute. When Yu Yao, Lian Xing, and Hua Yuanbi are all present, constitution and spirit are increased by 50%. When any 2 are present, constitution and spirit are increased by 30%. When 1 is present, there is no increase. Unrivaled in the martial world. Bond quality. Golden Legend. Bond attribute. When Yu Yao and Zhang San Niang are both present, spirit is increased by 50%, and enemies whose spirit is lower than theirs will be forcibly stunned for 3 seconds. There is no increase when 1 is present. Although Li Chenxiao initially felt that Yu Yao's attributes would not be too bad, he was still shocked by the gorgeous attributes on this panel. This is practically a god-tier start. After leaving the Myriad Realms Goddess Palace, Li Chenxiao took Yu Yao around his territory, explaining, "I just descended into the endless void, so the territory needs to be built from scratch. Currently, the territory only has a small house, a fence, and the special altar that summoned you. However, I also have a barracks. Once we hunt void monsters and acquire void source crystals, we can use the barracks to summon troops, and then we'll have more combat power." As they walked, Li Chenxiao spoke volubly. Initially, he just introduced the current state of the territory, but later, he also discussed future development plans and directions. Building the territory, farming, tower defense, herb gardens, orchards, summoning heroes, troops, developing an army, territory wars, upgrading the territory, and so on. Li Chenxiao didn't hide anything except the Chaos Azure Lotus. He even told Yu Yao about his identity as a transmigrator. There are many rules in the Endless Void. One of them is that heroes and troops summoned by Lord will have a certain level of loyalty for males, favorability for females. It usually starts at 60, but Yu Yao started at 70, which should also be due to the Chaos Azure Lotus. Summoned heroes and troops are not emotionless machines, they are living beings with their own joys and sorrows. They won't be 100% loyal from the start, but under the rules of the Endless Void, over countless years, it's rare for territory residents to actively betray their lord. Rare doesn't mean never. Some lords are unpopular, selling off or harming their residents. This lowers the loyalty of heroes, troops, and residents. When it drops to a certain level, residents might flee or even switch sides during battle. Li Chenxiao told Yu Yao all this because her initial favorability was 70. Once favorability reaches 70, as long as Li Chenxiao doesn't do anything too outrageous, Yu Yao generally won't betray him. Suddenly, a stream of information flowed through his mind. Yu Yao is grateful for the Lord's trust. Favorability plus 10. Current favorability, 80. A hint of joy flashed in Li Chenxiao's eyes. As expected, heartfelt communication between people is the best way to increase favorability. A favorability of 80 is equivalent to Yu Yao's attitude towards Zhang Feng. A favorability of 90 is like an ancient married couple, where the wife follows the husband's lead. A favorability of 100 means eternal loyalty, where life and death are entirely at the Lord's whim, and there would be no complaints even if asked to commit suicide. However, cultivating favorability to 100 is extremely difficult. Li Chenxiao looked up at Yu Yao beside him. Sure enough, her gaze towards him had softened considerably, and a blush appeared on her beautiful face. Seeing Li Chenxiao look over, she averted her gaze with a trace of panic. After inspecting the territory, Li Chenxiao led Yu Yao into the wooden house. The furnishings inside were very simple, a wooden table and chairs in the center, with a teapot and several teacups on the table. Beside the bed was a large, hard wooden bed, with a kerosene lamp on the bedside table. Next to the table was a dressing table, and to the right of the entrance was a washbasin stand with a washbasin and a towel. The entire room was clear at a glance. The endless void is a chaotic, bizarre place that defies common sense. Countless worlds and universes have been swallowed by the void, so it's possible to encounter all sorts of enemies in the endless void. Although protected by the rookie trial rules and with Yu Yao, a powerful hero, by his side, Li Chenxiao still felt a slight tension and a hint of excitement. The tension came from the unknown. After all, it was just theory before, and now it was practical combat. The success of the trial would determine his future development. Li Chenxiao and Yu Yao sat opposite each other. Seeing Li Chenxiao's slightly nervous expression, Yu Yao smiled brightly and said, "Is young master nervous?" Li Chenxiao showed a slightly embarrassed smile and said, "You make fun of me, Yu Yao. Before, I only listened to my teachers explain. Today is my first time facing a monster invasion. Young master needn't be so polite. I will certainly not let any monster harm you in the slightest. And young master, please just call me Yuaa from now on. Calling me Yu Yao feels too distant." Li Chenxiao glanced at Yu Yao and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Indeed, different levels of favorability lead to different attitudes from heroes towards their lord. If I had called her Yuaa from the start, her favorability would have plummeted. I certainly trust you, Yuaa. After saying this, Li Chenxiao took out an alloy longsword from his inventory and handed it to Yu Yao, saying, "You can use this longsword for self-defense for now. I'll find you a better one later. Young master, you should keep it for self-defense. I can kill enemies without a sword. Take it. This longsword can be put to greater use in your hands. With you guarding me, I feel at ease. If even you can't protect me, this longsword wouldn't be of much use in my hands." Li Chenxiao was speaking the truth. He had also learned some swordsmanship techniques during theoretical classes at school. However, these were just techniques, without any skill bonuses. Moreover, his constitution attribute was 1, while Yu Yao's was over 2000, a world of difference. Furthermore, Yu Yao had skill bonuses for sword techniques, allowing her to exert greater power. In the Lord era, lords don't need to spend time cultivating and learning themselves. They can quickly grow strong by relying on their territory, heroes, troops, and residents. Thank you, young master, Yu Yao said, taking the longsword. A stream of information flowed through Li Chenxiao's mind. Yu Yao is grateful for the Lord's concern. Favorability +1. Current favorability, 81. Indeed, favorability increased. In truth, with Yu Yao's attributes, this longsword was largely optional. She could slaughter monsters even without it. But Li Chenxiao still gave his only longsword to Yu Yao, precisely for the sake of favorability. Favorability doesn't increase by a large amount instantly. It's reflected in your everyday behavior, words, and actions. Yuaa, are you hungry? I'm fine. I won't be hungry for a while. Is young master hungry? Yu Yao's pleasant voice echoed in Li Chenxiao's ears. I'm not too hungry either. Let's eat later tonight then. Li Chenxiao and Yu Yao continued chatting like this, explaining some things about the Lord world. After all, the void only transmitted some basic information to heroes, troops, and residents, which certainly couldn't compare to Li Chenxiao's knowledge accumulated over more than 10 years. He also briefly explained the novel, Peerless Double Pride, and Yu Yao's future within the novel. Suddenly, Yu Yao's delicate brows furrowed, and her pretty face turned slightly, looking outside the door. Young master, we have uninvited guests. They're here. Li Chenxiao's eyes lit up, and he stood up excitedly. The first wave of the newbie trial and also the first day, was the simplest monster invasion, mainly to allow the Lord to quickly adapt to the endless void. As long as one defended according to what was learned in school, it was 100% passable. After that, it was hard to say. Each passing day, the number and strength of monsters would increase. Let's go, Li Chenxiao said, then strode out of the small house. As soon as he stepped out, he saw a group of small monsters near the fence not far away, roughly over 100 of them. They held wooden clubs, had dark green skin, pointed ears, ugly faces, and were about 1.2 meters tall. They were trying to climb over the fence and enter the territory. But the fence was a territory building, they couldn't climb over it before it was destroyed. In frustration, they could only swing their wooden clubs to attack the fence. Li Chenxiao recognized these monsters. They were called void goblins. They mainly lived deep underground in darkness, were greedy and despicable, tended towards evil, and had low combat ability. Void Goblin. Level 1. Quality. Common. Constitution. 1. Spirit. 1. Skills. None. But there were quite a lot of them. According to what he learned in school, there were usually only 1 to 2, or 5 to 6 for territories with good quality. But here, there were over 100. Li Chenxiao didn't know if Yu Yao could handle them. If not, he would just have to give up. Although he was a bit unwilling, he wouldn't sacrifice a hero for a small reward. Moreover, there was no resurrection building yet. If Yu Yao died in battle, she could never be summoned again, from any time or space. This was also one of the rules of the endless void. If there were a resurrection building, he wouldn't have to worry about these things, he could just resurrect her. Yuaa, can you handle this many? If not, we'll give up. Yu Yao was looking at the dense mass of monsters outside the fence with some surprise. Hearing Li Chenxiao's words, she said, "Don't worry, young master. Although there are many of them, their strength is too low. Even if there were several times this number, I could easily handle them." Hearing this, Li Chenxiao felt a little relieved. On the other side, the void goblins also discovered Li Chenxiao and Yu Yao, and their faces immediately showed greedy expressions. They attacked even more fiercely. Bang! Bang! Wood chips flew. The durability of the fence was slowly decreasing. Fence. Level 1, 0/1 of a per square meter. Quality. Common white. Function. All-around protection. Durability. 1782 2200x10. The small wooden house and fence that the Lord comes with cannot be evolved, but they can be dismantled. Although the goblins' attack power wasn't high, there were too many of them. In just this short time, the durability had dropped by over 200. Young master, I'm going. After Yu Yao said this, Li Chenxiao only saw a white blur flash before his eyes. Looking ahead, Yu Yao had already flipped over the fence and was slaughtering the goblins in their midst. In the monster horde, a beautiful figure, holding an alloy longsword, moved as if the sword had a life of its own, flying up and down, dancing out beautiful sword flowers, 1, 2, then countless, as if she were in a field of flowers. Li Chenxiao was momentarily captivated, lost in thought. In 2 lives, he had never seen such a beautiful sword dance. Even someone with his strong willpower was immersed and couldn't extricate himself. The scene was filled with the screams of void goblins. The void goblins went from initial greed and excitement to terror, with some even turning to flee. They wished their parents had given them 2 more legs. But all of it was futile. Soon, the screams on the scene disappeared. Only treasure chests were left scattered on the ground. All the void goblin corpses had vanished. These treasure chests were the rewards obtained after killing void monsters, and they were also the core of a lord's growth. After all monsters were killed, their corpses would turn into treasure chests. This was a characteristic of void monsters. Legend has it that immortal deities once researched its secrets, but after hundreds of years, they found nothing. It is only rumored that these monsters might be the original inhabitants of those destroyed worlds. Therefore, in the endless void, all sorts of monsters can be encountered. Angels, demons, ghosts, magic side, tech side, faith side, cultivation side, fantasy side, etc., anything is possible. At this moment, a message came from Li Chenxiao's lord's heart. Battle ended. Commencing settlement. Battle settlement. Enemies. 120 level 1 void goblins. Battle result. Complete victory. Battle rating. SSS. Basic rewards. 120 void source stones, 120 void source crystals. Additional rewards. SSS 1200 void source stones, 1200 void source crystals. Territory buildings. Arrow Tower X5, Farmland X5, Toilet X1. Seeing the additional rewards, Li Chenxiao became excited. The SSS rank rewards were indeed generous. Previously, when he studied at school, he had only heard of SS rank rewards. He had never heard of anyone obtaining SSS rank rewards. Battle rewards only started having additional rewards from S rank. Before S rank, there were only basic rewards. S rank was 2 times the basic rewards and had a chance to obtain other building rewards. SS rank was 5 times the basic rewards and guaranteed territory buildings. It now seemed that SSS rank rewards were 10 times the basic rewards, and the territory buildings obtained were also more generous than those from SS rank. Today's monster invasion was over, so it was time to open the treasure chests. Thinking this, Li Chenxiao excitedly ran over. By the time Li Chenxiao came outside, Yu Yao had already started collecting treasure chests. Heroes, troops, and subjects also have item slots, the size of which is the same as the Lord's item slot. The Lord can see the items in the item slots of heroes, troops, and subjects. Uaa, are you hurt? You should rest first, I'll collect these things. Thank you for your concern, young master. I'm fine. The battle just now wasn't even a warm-up, Yu Yao said, continuing to collect treasure chests. Li Chenxiao also quickly joined in the collection. To avoid any mishaps, Li Chenxiao brought Yu Yao back to the small house in the territory. Only then did the two of them take out the treasure chests one by one and place them together. Now is the time to test our luck, Uaa. Let's open the chests together and see whose luck is better. Alright, let's see then, Yu Yao said with a smile. Obtained. 2 void source crystals. Obtained. 2 void source crystals, 1 void source stone. Obtained. 5 void source crystals. Obtained. 3 void source stones, 200 grams of gold. Obtained. Wooden club, 3 void source crystals. Obtained. Arrow tower, 5 void source crystals. In a short while, all the treasure chests were opened. The table was piled high with void source crystals, void source stones, a few wooden clubs, 3 arrow towers, and some other miscellaneous items. Li Chenxiao tallied them up, and the useful items for the Lord were as follows. A total of 370 void source crystals, 260 void source stones, 3 arrow towers, and 5 wooden clubs were obtained from the treasure chests. Our luck isn't bad. Li Chenxiao was a bit excited. During his studies at school, he had focused on understanding the knowledge of the novice trial. Normally, when killing a regular monster, over 90% of the rewards are 1 to 3 void source crystals. Void source stones are relatively rarer and depend on luck. Territory buildings are even scarcer. With bad luck, you might not even get 1 territory building after killing hundreds of void monsters. Most ordinary lords acquire single-digit void source crystals in the first wave, rarely double digits. Void source stones are not guaranteed. Of course, those with incredible luck and those like Li Chenxiao, who are practically cheating, are not included. The total income from the first wave of monsters is as follows. Void source crystals, 1690. Void source stones, 1580. Territory buildings, 8 arrow towers, 5 farmlands, 1 toilet, 5 wooden clubs, and various other sundries. Void source crystals can be used for summoning heroes and troops, repairing buildings, replenishing inventory, crafting equipment, upgrading equipment, etc. They can also be traded with other lords. Void source stones can only be used to upgrade territories, territory buildings, hero and troop levels, etc. They cannot be traded. Wooden club. Level 1. Quality. Gray. Attributes. None. Description. Although it's the lowest quality wooden club, it still hurts a lot when it hits someone. Looking at the wooden club before him, Li Chenxiao wasn't too disappointed. The harvest from the first wave was already tens or even hundreds of times that of others, and Li Chenxiao was content. Young master, are you satisfied with this harvest? Yu Yao asked with a smile. Extremely satisfied. Our harvest this time is tens to hundreds of times that of ordinary lords. This will allow our territory to develop quickly and enable us to summon your sister Lianxing sooner. Thank you, young master. Li Chenxiao stood up and said, let's go out and construct buildings. Although we can't summon Lianxing this time, we can currently build your exclusive barracks and summon the Yue Palace disciples. Within the territory, an area of 3,200 square meters sounds large, but it's actually just a bit over 56 meters in length and width. With the wooden house and the myriad realms goddess palace, there isn't much space left. After becoming a lord, Li Chenxiao had already begun preliminary planning for his territory. Temporarily, the wooden house divides the territory into 4 directions: east, west, south, and north. The east is for spiritual fields, orchards, herb gardens, and other plant-related areas. The south is temporarily vacant. The west will be where barracks and weapon shops are located in the future. The north will be for restaurants and alchemy in the future. Li Chenxiao led Yu Yao directly to the open space in the west, took out the barracks, and threw it onto the ground. The barracks model grew with the wind in midair, becoming larger and larger, and soon transformed into a small camp that landed on the open ground. Barracks Plus. Level 10100. Quality White. Function Recruit troops. During the novice trial, all lords uniformly use the ordinary quality barracks issued by the school. They can summon Novice's Friend, Militia. All lords begin using barracks after the first wave of invasion, using the obtained void source crystals to summon militias. Of course, those with single-digit void source crystals in the first wave can only start recruiting after accumulating 10 void source crystals. Summon militias, fight to sustain the war, acquire resources, and continue summoning militias. Later, heroes, troops, and various buildings will be obtained successively. The longer one persists, the more resources one gets, and gradually, the gap with other lords will widen. Barracks are not unlimited in construction just because you have barracks and military talismans. Before becoming an immortal god, a lord's territory can build 1 barracks for every 5 levels it increases. For example, if a lord reaches level 10, they can build 3 barracks, 1 initial barracks, 1 more at level 5, and the second one at level 10, making a total of 3 barracks. Subsequently, 1 barracks will be added for every 5 levels gained. That only applies to other lords. Li Chenxiao is an exception. Li Chenxiao clicked on the plus sign. A divine light shot from the Chaos Azure Lotus in his mind towards the barracks. After the divine light dissipated, the barracks underwent a transformation. What appeared before him was a barracks similar to ancient China, embodying iron-bloodedness, solemnity, and austerity, carrying an ancient aura of time. Barracks Plus. Level 103,200. Quality Golden Legend. Function Recruit troops. Li Chenxiao looked at the Golden Legend quality barracks before him and said, Yue, give me your exclusive Yue Palace military talisman. Okay, young master, Yu Yao said, handing the exclusive Yue Palace token to Li Chenxiao. After Li Chenxiao received the token, a stream of information flowed through his mind. Detected that the barracks and exclusive troop quality match. Do you want to fuse and solidify? The solidified quality will be Golden Legend. Yes, no. Yes. Both the barracks and the exclusive quality token were enveloped in a beam of light. When the light dissipated, what appeared before them was a pavilion built of white jade, adorned with peach blossoms, beautiful and dreamlike. Yue Palace. Type. Barracks. Level 103,200. Quality Golden Legend. Function can recruit Yue Palace disciples from any time and space. Troop quantity 0-100 10x10. Recruitment cost 320 person. Currently, Li Chenxiao only has 1810 void source crystals, which can recruit 5 Yue Palace disciples. He currently has only 1700 void source stones, not even half of what's needed to upgrade the Yue Palace. If Li Chenxiao's resources were in the hands of other lords, their barracks would have already been upgraded several levels, and the number of summoned individuals would be in the hundreds. However, there are pros and cons. 100 people would consume a significant amount of resources, and the trial rules state that each person can only carry a limited amount of resources. It's impossible to endlessly churn out troops. Moreover, even if 100 people were summoned, the void monsters would also grow stronger. If they were of the same strength as Li Chenxiao's, there would also be over 100 void monsters, and even if victorious, it might be a Pyrrhic victory, unable to achieve the flawless slaughter that Yu Yao did. Recruit. Li Chenxiao spent 1600 void source crystals to summon 5 Yue Palace disciples. The next moment, the gates of the Yue Palace barracks opened, and 5 tall, beautiful women in plain palace dresses walked out. They approached Li Chenxiao and Yu Yao, bowed, and said, "Greetings, young master." "Greetings, great palace mistress." Li Chenxiao said, "Rise. There's no need for such formalities with me. In the future, a simple cupped hand salute will suffice. Yu Yao, take them to familiarize themselves with the territory." "Understood, young master. All of you, follow me," Yu Yao said, leading them away. A piece of information flowed through Li Chenxiao's mind. Yu Yao is grateful that the Lord summoned Yue Palace disciples, making her no longer feel lonely. Favorability +5. Current favorability, 86. Not bad, favorability increased again. When Lian Xing is summoned later, favorability should break 90. Thinking this, he looked at the attributes of the Yue Palace disciples. Yue Palace disciples. Identity, troops. Race, human. Quality, golden legend. Level, 10320ths. Favorability, 70. Bloodline, moon god bloodline +1. Talent, flower shifting jade connecting +1. Skills, Mingyu skill, Wuyu swordplay, Xingyan swordplay, Tanyu Jiaxing, Suixin palm. Bond, Yiwu disciples. Physique, 840 base attribute 32x2x10 plus 10x2x10. Spirit, 840 base attribute 32x2x10 plus 10x2x10. Yiwu disciples. Bond quality, golden legend. Attribute, when there are more than 3 Yue Palace disciples present, activate the bond. After activation, the physique and spirit of all Yue Palace disciples increase by 100% for 300 seconds. Base value 60x number of people. Seeing this, Li Chenxiao had only one word in his mind: strong. These Yue Palace disciples were simply weakened versions of Yu Yao. Besides their attributes and bonds, everything else was the same. Everything Yu Yao knew, they knew too. Yue Palace was founded by Yu Yao, so Yu Yao would also benefit from the Yue bond attribute. This was the power of exclusive troops. There was also an unheard of bond. Perhaps sensing Li Chenxiao's doubt, the Chaos Azure Lotus in his mind sent a piece of information into Li Chenxiao's mind. Troops bonds were exclusive to Li Chenxiao, no other lord had troops bonds. After receiving this information, Li Chenxiao was ecstatic. In the myriad realms, while golden lords were rare, there were certainly many, especially those lords who had developed for countless years. Although Li Chenxiao was almost invincible among his peers, he was still no match for them, because they definitely also had golden heroes. While not all golden heroes came with exclusive troops, and the number of exclusive troops wouldn't be too many, if he encountered even one, Li Chenxiao would be in trouble. But now, as long as Li Chenxiao was given time, even if he encountered those golden lords who had developed for countless years, he would be able to defeat them. Because the number of exclusive troops was limited, it was a 10:1 ratio with golden troops. This meant that if other lords had golden heroes and those golden heroes had exclusive troops, they would summon 9 regular golden legend troops and 1 exclusive troop. Here, Li Chenxiao directly got exclusive troops. This meant that Li Chenxiao's exclusive troops were equivalent to other lords' regular golden troops. Summoning 10 meant all 10 were exclusive troops, and they were even exclusive troops with bonds. Although the current bond duration seemed short, what about when there were more people? It would be almost infinite duration, essentially doubling combat power. Next, Li Chenxiao looked at Yu Yao's attributes again. Yu Yao. Identity. Hero. Race. Human. Quality. Golden legend. Level 1. Favorability, 86. Bloodline, moon god bloodline +1. Talent, flower shifting jade connecting +1. Skills, Mingyu skill, Wuyu swordplay, Xingyan swordplay, Tanyu Jiaxing, Suixin palm. Exclusive troops, Yue Palace. Bonds, 3 beauties of Yue, twin jades of Zhonggu, Yue disciples. Physique, 4200 base attribute 32x5x2x10 plus 10x5x2x10. Spirit. 4200 base attribute 32x5x2x10 plus 10x5x2x10. Others omitted. This was simply too powerful. Li Chenxiao no longer worried about the novice trial. What he needed to do now was to always get the best evaluation to receive the best rewards. Now it was time to place the other territory buildings. Currently, he had 3 types of territory buildings: farmland, arrow tower, and toilet. Farmland was not urgent, he could place it later when the territory leveled up and expanded. That left only the arrow tower and toilet. He first went to the southern fence, preparing to place 1 arrow tower on each side of the south. The other arrow towers would not be placed for now, to be used as needed, because there was only 1 entrance from the south. If the other arrow towers were placed on the other 3 sides, only the southern arrow towers would be effective during a monster invasion, while the others would not. If 2 arrow towers were not enough, more could be placed in the south at any time. The arrow tower was an important offensive and defensive building for the territory. It possessed characteristics of high attack and high defense. However, it also had its drawbacks. It was not flexible enough and could not adapt and adjust to battlefield situations like people could. Arrow tower quality was also divided into white common, green excellent, blue fine, purple outstanding, orange epic, and golden legend. White had attack 10, defense 10, attack range 10 meters. For every level increased, the attributes and attack range increased by 10 multiplied by the current level. For example, at level 2 it would be 30, at level 3 it would be 60, and so on. Green had attack 20, defense 20, attack range 20 meters. For every level increased, the attributes and attack range increased by 20 multiplied by the current level. For example, at level 2 it would be 60, at level 3 it would be 120, and so on. Blue had attack 40, defense 40, attack range 40 meters. For every level increased, the attributes and attack range increased by 40 multiplied by the current level. For example, at level 2 it would be 120, at level 3 it would be 240, and so on. Purple had attack 80, defense 80, attack range 80 meters. For every level increased, the attributes and attack range increased by 80 multiplied by the current level. For example, at level 2 it would be 240, at level 3 it would be 480, and so on. Orange had attack 160, defense 160, attack range 160 meters. For every level increased, the attributes and attack range increased by 160 multiplied by the current level. For example, at level 2 it would be 480, at level 3 it would be 960, and so on. Golden had attack 320, defense 320, attack range 320 meters. For every level increased, the attributes and attack range increased by 320 multiplied by the current level. For example, at level 2 it would be 960, at level 3 it would be 1920, and so on. The arrow tower's inventory was related to its level and quality. The higher the quality, the smaller the inventory. Level 1 white common. Inventory 320. Level 1 green excellent. Inventory 160. Level 1 blue fine. Inventory 80. Level 1 purple outstanding. Inventory 40. Level 1 orange epic. Inventory 20. Level 1 golden legend. Inventory 10. For every level increased, the inventory increased by inventory x current level. For example, a white common arrow tower at level 5 would have an inventory of 4,800. A green excellent arrow tower at level 5 would have an inventory of 2,400. A blue fine arrow tower at level 5 would have an inventory of 1,200. A purple outstanding at level 5 would have an inventory of 600. An orange epic at level 5 would have an inventory of 300. A golden legend, 150. Arrow tower inventory recovery and replenishment. Arrow tower inventory naturally recovers. After the inventory is depleted, all inventory can be recovered once for free every day. Arrow tower inventory replenishment. After the inventory is depleted, void source crystal can be used for recovery. The amount of void source crystal consumed is related to the arrow tower's level and quality. Taking level 1 and level 5 as examples. A level 1 white arrow tower consumes 100 void source crystal. A level 5 consumes 1500 void source crystal. A level 1 green arrow tower consumes 200 void source crystal. A level 5 consumes 3000 void source crystal. A level 1 blue arrow tower consumes 400 void source crystal. A level 5 consumes 6000 void source crystal. A level 1 purple arrow tower consumes 800 void source crystal. A level 5 consumes 12,000 void source crystal. A level 1 orange arrow tower consumes 1600 void source crystal. A level 5 consumes 24,000 void source crystal. A level 1 golden arrow tower consumes 3200 void source crystal. A level 5 consumes 48,000 void source crystal. Arrow tower durability recovery speed refers to recovery and replenishment. Durability recovery speed is related to level and irrelevant to quality. All qualities have the same durability recovery speed, 10% daily. Durability replenishment consumes the same amount of void source crystal as arrow tower inventory recovery. The higher the arrow tower's quality, the more void source crystal is consumed. A level 1 white arrow tower consumes 100 void source crystal to recover 100%. A level 5 consumes 100x 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 equals 1500 void source crystal to recover 100%. For replenishment below 100%, the consumption is the same. For example, a level 1 white arrow tower at 80% durability recovering to 100% requires 100 void source crystal, and at 99% durability recovering to 100% also requires 100 void source crystal. Arrow tower functions are also varied and can be combined in many ways. Functions are mainly physical and magic-based. Compared to the physical attacks of ordinary arrow towers, magic-based arrow towers are more difficult to obtain because they have additional characteristics beyond physical ones, such as freezing, burning, and so on. Li Chenxiao took out 4 arrow towers and directly threw them out. The 4 arrow towers grew with the wind and landed on the left and right sides of the fence, respectively. Arrow Tower Plus. Level 1, 0 100ths. Quality. Ordinary white. Attack. 10. Defense. 10. Attack range. 10 meters. Fire rate. 1 shot per second. Durability. 1000. Inventory. 323 120ths. The attributes of all 4 buildings were the same, and all had a plus sign. Li Chenxiao directly clicked on the 4 plus signs. The next moment, 4 divine lights enveloped the 4 arrow towers. Soon, the divine lights dissipated, and the 4 arrow towers all changed. They were still arrow towers, but their appearances were different. They can actually transform into different buildings. This was no small surprise for Li Chenxiao, because arrow towers come in many types and functions, and to make various combinations, different arrow towers are needed. All lords know the importance of arrow towers. Ordinary physical arrow towers might be traded, but magic-based arrow towers are rarely traded. As soon as one appears, people scramble for it. Previously, Li Chenxiao had been quite troubled about how to solve the problem of future arrow tower combinations, but now this problem was directly resolved. As long as Li Chenxiao obtained an arrow tower, he would continuously acquire other types of arrow towers, allowing him to combine them as he pleased. Li Chenxiao opened the attribute panel of one of the arrow towers. Repeating crossbow tower. Level 1, 0 3200ths. Quality. Golden Legend. Attack. 3200, 320x10. Defense. 3200, 320x10. Attack range. 3200 meters, 320x10. Fire rate. 1 shot per second, 0.1x10. Durability. 32000, 3200x10. Inventory. 100 100ths, 10x10. Skill. Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire. Launches a rapid fire attack on enemies within the attack range ahead, firing 5 times per second, 0.5x10 with a cooldown of 1 hour. Seeing the attributes of the defense tower before him, Li Chenxiao's eyes lit up. The difference between before and after the mutation was like heaven and earth. With this attack power, any void monster that came would be instantly killed, and even if a void monster got close, the arrow tower's defense was simply impenetrable. Another rule in the endless void is that damage can only be dealt if the defense can be broken. If defense cannot be broken, only 1 point of forced damage will be dealt. In other words, attacks below 3,200 would only forcibly reduce the current arrow tower's durability by 1 point. And this skill, once activated, is equivalent to a 10-fold increase in attack for 100 seconds. Although the cooldown time is a bit long, the arrow tower is only level 1. When the level is higher, the duration will increase, and the cooldown time will decrease, then it will be true rapid fire. This is really good. Li Chenxiao nodded in satisfaction and looked at the other arrow towers. Frost Tower. Level 1, 3,200. Quality. Golden Legend. Others are the same, ignored. Skill. Freezing. Freezing. Shoots arrows at enemies within the attack range ahead with a freezing effect, freezing enemies for 0.3 x 10 seconds upon hit. Explosive Flame Tower. Level 1, 3,200. Quality. Golden Legend. Others are the same, ignored. Skill. Explosive Flame. Explosive Flame. Shoots arrows at enemies within the attack range ahead with an explosive effect, causing a secondary explosion upon hitting enemies. Lightning Tower. Level 1, 3,200. Quality. Golden Legend. Others are the same, ignored. Skill. Lightning. Lightning. Shoots arrows at enemies within the attack range ahead with a lightning effect, causing enemies to enter a paralyzed state and be unable to use skills upon hit. Seeing the attributes of the Frost Tower, Explosive Flame Tower, and Lightning Tower before him, Li Chenxiao was even more satisfied, because the repeating Crossbow Tower, Frost Tower, Explosive Flame Tower, and Lightning Tower were some of the possible combinations. While the repeating Crossbow Tower's rapid fire is good, void monsters are not fools who stand still and let you shoot, they will also dodge. However, with the Frost Tower and Lightning Tower, it's different. After freezing or paralyzing, activating rapid fire means they can only be live targets. Similarly, after freezing and paralyzing, using the Explosive Flame Tower will directly make enemies experience both ice and fire, and lightning and fire. Li Chenxiao came to a corner of his territory, took out the toilet building model, and threw it onto the empty ground. The toilet building model grew with the wind, and soon a modern-style toilet appeared before his eyes. Toilet Plus. Level 10100. Quality. Ordinary white. Function. Sewage disposal. Quantity. 1. Li Chenxiao directly clicked on the plus sign. The next moment, a divine light enveloped the toilet. After the divine light dissipated, the toilet's appearance became much more pleasing. Li Chenxiao opened the toilet's attribute panel. Fragrance of flowers. Level 103,200. Quality. Golden Legend. Function. Sewage disposal. Quantity. 10 1x10. Characteristic. Naturally emits a floral fragrance, captivating those within it. Cultivation speed plus 10% 1% x 10. Li Chenxiao's eyes twitched here. From its characteristics, this toilet was definitely a treasure for a lord. At level 1, it increased cultivation speed by 1%, and at higher levels, it would certainly increase even more. However, for Li Chenxiao, it was a bit redundant. One of Li Chenxiao's territory characteristics was a 10-fold increase in cultivation speed. Besides, even if it were useful, what kind of situation would cultivating in a toilet be? Toilet immortal. Toilet god. Forget it, it doesn't matter. Anyway, Li Chenxiao didn't have too many expectations for this toilet. This is still good, at least the air inside the toilet is pleasant. When Li Chenxiao returned to the small house, Yu Yao and several Yue Palace disciples were already sitting there chatting. Li Chenxiao walked over to Yu Yao, pulled up a chair, and sat down, saying with a smile, "The house is a bit simple, please don't mind it, everyone. It will definitely get better and better in the future." Yu Yao said, "What are you talking about, young master? This place is already very good. Where we come from, many poor farmers don't even have their own homes." Only then did Li Chenxiao remember that Proud Twins was a novel, and also a world. The world certainly wasn't just the people he saw, there must be ordinary farmers. Li Chenxiao then explained the newly added buildings to Yu Yao and the others. Then he took out 7 portions of food from his inventory and placed them on the table. Steamed buns, dried beef, ham, side dishes, mineral water, and some fruit. These are some instant foods from our main world. Conditions are simple, so we can only eat these. I don't know if you'll be used to them. Once we have restaurant buildings and the like, we can enjoy gourmet food, and even create food with attributes inside. We are very much looking forward to that day. After eating and drinking their fill, they chatted for a while. After they all left, Li Chenxiao also began to prepare for bed. He took out a special timer from his inventory. This timer had no other function, it simply served as a time-keeping device. Don't underestimate this timer, because the endless void is complex. Not all places have a day-night cycle. You can use it to determine if it's day or night. Some places are always day, some are always night. Without a timer, encountering an environment that is constantly day or night would make it difficult to sleep well. If you can't determine the time, you can't determine when monsters will invade. After all, monster invasions don't have a specific time, there's one wave a day, which could be in the morning, at noon, or in the evening. The first 1 to 2 days might be fine, but later it could lead to a direct collapse. So, this special timer is also one of the essential items to carry. Li Chenxiao checked the time, 8 p.m. This time was fine in the main world, he could binge watch shows or check his phone, but there was none of that after the descent into the void. Li Chenxiao lay on the bed, fully clothed, closing his eyes and recalling everything from today, checking if there were any oversights. Suddenly, he heard the sound of the door opening. He opened his eyes and looked towards the doorway. Yu Yao was pushing the door open and walking in. Li Chenxiao quickly got up and asked, Yu Yao, why are you here? Is there something else? Yu Yao shook her head and said, there's nothing else. I'm here to guard young master. Li Chenxiao said, I appreciate your intention. I'm safe within the territory. You should go back and rest early. That won't do, especially in this endless void. I can only feel at ease if I stay by young master's side. Alright then, you sleep on the bed, I'll sleep on the floor, Li Chenxiao said, getting out of bed. Absolutely not. How can young master sleep on the floor? Could it be that young master dislikes me? Hearing this, Li Chenxiao's heart skipped a beat. How could that be? Li Chenxiao argued dryly, then hesitated for a moment before lying back down on the bed. Although the small house was not large and a bit dilapidated, it was a lord's building, and it was not cold inside. After Li Chenxiao closed his eyes, it wasn't long before he felt a warm, delicate body lie down beside him, and a faint, pleasant fragrance slowly wafted over. Perhaps it was exhaustion, or perhaps the reassuring presence of a super powerful fighter beside him, but Li Chenxiao quickly fell into sleep. The next day, Li Chenxiao slowly woke up. Opening his eyes, he felt a momentary confusion. Soon, he came to his senses and turned his head. Yu Yao was still asleep. Her hairpin was placed to the side, and her 3,000 strands of dark hair were slightly disheveled, falling down and covering half of her earlobe. On her exquisitely beautiful face, there was a faint smile, as if she was having a sweet dream, and her slender, delicate body gently rose and fell with her breathing, possessing a unique kind of beauty. Li Chenxiao gazed at the sleeping beauty before him, a little lost in thought, wishing time would stop at this moment. However, now was not the time for romantic considerations. He picked up the timer and saw that it was 7 a.m. It was already the second day, and monsters could invade at any time. After that, Li Chenxiao gently got out of bed and left the room. Creak. The door closed. In the dimly lit small house, Yu Yao slowly opened her eyes, her beautiful eyes carrying a faint shyness, and a flush of crimson appeared on her exquisitely beautiful face, like peach blossoms, adding another 3 points of beauty. Li Chenxiao walked to the fence outside, taking out toothpaste and a toothbrush, intending to brush his teeth, when a stream of information suddenly flowed through his mind. Yu Yao appreciates the Lord's gentlemanly conduct, favorability +2, current favorability 88. Yu Yao had woken up. Fortunately, he hadn't done anything out of line just now. If Yu Yao had thought he was a frivolous person, and his favorability had dropped, all his previous efforts would have been in vain. And once ill will was generated, it would be difficult to repair. While lost in thought, he saw Yu Yao slowly walk out. By the time Yu Yao and the others had finished washing up and eaten breakfast together, it was 8 o'clock. Li Chenxiao was strolling through the territory when he suddenly heard footsteps. Li Chenxiao looked up and out. In the distant mist, dark figures swiftly emerged, one after another. Monster invasion so early today. Just then, Yu Yao and the others also came to Li Chenxiao's side, looking together into the mist outside. The dark figures in the mist were now clearly visible. A dense swarm, over 200 of them. Their entire bodies were blood red, most holding scimitars, a few holding staves. They were a bit taller than yesterday's goblins, about 1.5 meters tall, with ferocious faces and two goat-like horns on their heads. They were void fallen ones. Monster quality, like troops, is divided into white common, green excellent, blue fine, purple outstanding, orange epic, and golden legend. Within the same monster quality, they are further divided into elite, chieftain, leader, and boss. Elites have 2 times the stats of the same quality, chieftains have 3 times, leaders have 4 times, and bosses have 5 times. For example, a blue common has 4 stats, a white elite has 8 stats, a white chieftain has 12 stats, a white leader has 16 stats, and a white boss has 20 stats. Green excellent quality void fallen ones had already started appearing among them. According to the experience of previous new lords in the descent into the void, green excellent quality usually appeared after a week, with only white common quality appearing in the first week, though their numbers would increase. But here, they were appearing on the second day, and their numbers were twice that of yesterday. Void Fallen 1. Level 1. Quality. Green. Constitution. 2. Spirit. 2. Skill. Cleave. Cleave. Swings the long blade in hand forward, increasing attack by 1%. Void Fallen 1 Shaman. Level 1. Quality. Green. Constitution. 2. Spirit. 2. Skill. Revive. Revive. As long as the Void Fallen 1 Shaman is not dead, it can revive a Fallen 1, once per month. Li Chenxiao looked at the Void Fallen 1s and Void Fallen 1 Shamans rushing from a distance, his expression a little grim. Young master, I will lead the Yuwa Palace disciples to kill them, Yu Yao said, then prepared to lead the Yuwa Palace disciples out to fight. No rush, let's first see the power of the Arrow Tower, Li Chenxiao said. Both the repeating crossbow tower and the frost tower had a wide attack range. The Arrow Tower's attack here was divided into 2 types, automatic attack and lord-controlled attack. Automatic attack meant that as soon as a monster entered the attack range, it would start attacking. Lord-controlled attack allowed the lord to decide when to attack based on their needs, for example, attacking after monsters entered a certain distance within the attack range. Since he wanted to test the power of the Arrow Tower, naturally, the closer they were, the more damage it would inflict. If they were instantly killed upon entry, the subsequent Void Fallen ones would simply flee, and Li Chenxiao would suffer the loss. Therefore, Li Chenxiao waited for a while. Only when all the Void Fallen ones and Void Fallen 1 Shamans had entered the attack range, and were less than 50 meters from the fence, did he begin the attack. Control first, then output. Li Chenxiao calmly analyzed and controlled the Frost Tower to attack. The next moment, the Frost Tower fired streams of blue ice arrows, freezing all the Void Fallen ones and Void Fallen 1 Shamans approaching the fence. The repeating crossbow tower activated its rapid fire, shooting at the outermost Void Fallen ones and Void Fallen 1 Shamans. In the blink of an eye, all the monsters died amidst the freezing and rapid fire. A message came from Li Chenxiao's Lord's heart. Battle ended. Starting settlement. Battle settlement. Enemies. 260 level 1 Void Fallen ones and Void Fallen 1 Shamans. Battle result. Complete victory. Battle rating. SSS. Basic rewards. 520 Void Source Stone, 520 Void Source Crystal. Additional rewards, SSS, 5200 Void Source Stone, 5200 Void Source Crystal, Territory Buildings, Arrow Tower X13, Farmland X13, Water Well X1, Restaurant X1. Upon seeing these rewards, Li Chenxiao's expression brightened. Although the difficulty had increased, the rewards were also more generous. After collecting the treasure chests with Yu Yao and the others, he went to the small wooden house to open them together. Obtained 3 Void Source Crystals. Obtained 3 Void Source Crystals, 2 Void Source Stones. Obtained 5 Void Source Crystals. Obtained 3 Void Source Stones. Obtained Scimitar, 3 Void Source Crystals. Obtained Arrow Tower, 5 Void Source Crystals. In a short while, all the treasure chests were opened. The table was piled high with void source crystals, void source stones, over 20 scimitars, 10 arrow towers, 8 farmlands, and various other miscellaneous items. Li Chenxiao tallied them up, and the items useful to the Lord were as follows. A total of 1450 void source crystals, 1100 void source stones, 10 arrow towers, and 26 scimitars were obtained from the treasure chests. The total income from this wave of monsters was as follows. Void source crystals, 7,170. Void source stones, 6,820. Territory buildings, 23 arrow towers, 13 farmlands, 1 water well, 1 restaurant, 26 scimitars, 3 staffs, and a quantity of other miscellaneous items. Scimitar. Level 1. Quality, white. Attribute, 1:1. Description. Although it is a low-quality scimitar, it still has some killing power. Staff. Level 1. Quality, white. Attribute, 1:1. Description. Although it is a low-quality staff, it can still kill enemies. After the first wave, there were 90 void source crystals, 1580 void source stones, 6 arrow towers, and 5 farmlands remaining. Adding this to the current haul, Li Chenxiao now had a total of void source crystals, 7,260. Void source stones, 8,400. Territory buildings, 27 arrow towers, 18 farmlands, 1 water well, 1 restaurant. Li Chenxiao looked at the resources in his hand, contemplating how to utilize them. First, regarding the territory level, Li Chenxiao opened the territory panel. Territory. Unnamed. Owner. Li Chenxiao. Level. 103,200. Area. 3,200 square meters. Owned buildings. Thatched cottage, level 1, fence, level 1, myriad realms, goddess palace, level 1, Yue palace, level 1, repeating crossbow tower, level 1, frost tower, level 1, explosive flame tower, level 1, lightning tower, level 1. Residence. 6. Territory trait. Taiyan heavenly palace. Li Chenxiao invested void source stones into it. 3,200 to 3,200 3,200. Upgrade successful. The territory attributes after upgrading are as follows. Territory. Unnamed. Owner. Li Chenxiao. Level. 2. Area. 9,600 square meters. Owned buildings. Thatched cottage, level 1, fence, level 1, myriad realms, goddess palace, level 1, Yue palace, level 1, repeating crossbow tower, level 1, frost tower, level 1, explosive flame tower, level 1, lightning tower, level 1. Residence. 6. Territory trait. Taiyan heavenly palace. The moment the panel changed, the territory silently expanded outwards by a circle. The mist was pushed away, revealing some new barren land. Li Chenxiao surveyed the entire territory. With double the territory area, there was more than enough space to place several more buildings. He still had 5,200 void source stones left. The current levels of the arrow towers and Yue palace were sufficient for now, so he would keep them. Li Chenxiao then looked at the fence. Due to the expansion of the territory, the current fence no longer enclosed the entire territory as it once did, but only a part of it. Li Chenxiao entered the Lord's perspective and moved the fence and arrow towers outwards. This immediately made the area within the fence feel spacious again. This was one of the Lord's abilities. The Lord's heart not only granted the Lord simplified territory information but also the rule-based power to move territory buildings, allowing for various layouts according to the Lord's needs. Li Chenxiao first went to the north side of the territory, took out the restaurant building model, and dropped it on the ground. The restaurant model rapidly expanded, and soon an ancient and elegant small restaurant appeared before his eyes. Restaurant Plus. Level 10100. Quality. Ordinary white. Function. Food preparation. Inventory. 100. Description. An ordinary restaurant, the food it prepares can only fill one's stomach. Li Chenxiao clicked on the plus sign. The next moment, a divine light flew out, enveloping the restaurant. Soon, the divine light dissipated, and a tavern built of white jade appeared before him. Carved on the walls of the tavern were soaring dragons and phoenixes. Above the main entrance, a plaque bore 5 large characters, Jade Nectar Pavilion. Jade Nectar Pavilion. Type. Restaurant. Quality. Golden Legend. Level 1. Function. Prepares delicacies and fine wines. Inventory. 1100 x 10. Description. With sufficient ingredients, it can prepare delicacies from the myriad realms. The prepared delicacies will grant a temporary positive effect bonus. Li Chenxiao entered the Jade Nectar Pavilion. It didn't look particularly large from the outside, but inside was a world of its own. Upon entering, the first thing that greeted his eyes were colorful flowers and plants, a large dining area filled with tables and chairs, and also a kitchen and a bedroom. Li Chenxiao walked into the kitchen, which contained all sorts of cooking utensils, pots, bowls, ladles, basins, spatulas, oil, seasonings, and so on, everything imaginable. Li Chenxiao took out a packet of noodles from his inventory and, using the tools and seasonings in the kitchen, quickly cooked a bowl of clear broth noodles. The moment the clear broth noodles were served, they emitted a faint glow and even had an attribute panel. Clear broth noodles. Type. Delicacy. Quality. Gray. Attributes. Satiety, Constitution and Spirit plus 5, 0.5 x 10, lasting within 10 hours, 1 by 10 hours. Description. Food made from ordinary noodles that can increase attributes. This is truly unique in the myriad realms. The attribute bonus from delicacies has a time limit. The magnitude of the attribute bonus depends on the quality of the food and the level of the building. The higher the building level and the higher the ingredient quality, the greater the attribute bonus and the longer its duration. The maximum quality does not exceed the restaurant's quality. Looking at the attributes of the clear broth noodles before him, Li Chenxiao was delighted. He hadn't expected that the territory trait's 10x multiplier would also apply to the food he cooked. However, upon reflection, he understood, the restaurant was also a territory building, so it was normal for the food cooked within it to enjoy the territory's 10x bonus. This bowl of clear broth noodles Li Chenxiao made only added 5 to Constitution and Spirit, which seemed small. However, this was limited by the ingredients. Moreover, this was an addition to basic attributes. It might be less for Li Chenxiao, but if Yu Yao ate it, the bonus would be terrifying. 5x5x2x10 equals 500, adding 500 points to both Constitution and Spirit respectively. Food bonuses do not stack. For example, if the duration is 10 hours, and other food is eaten during this period, the bonus from the later food will overwrite the bonus from the previous meal. Li Chenxiao was already very satisfied with this bowl of clear broth noodles. Thinking this, Li Chenxiao picked up his chopsticks and bowl and began to eat. After finishing the bowl of noodles, a warm current surged from his abdomen, quickly spreading throughout his entire body. He clenched his fists, clearly feeling the changes in his body. With the restaurant in place, the farmland could also be arranged. Thinking this, Li Chenxiao stood up and walked out of the Jade Nectar Pavilion. He went to the east side of the territory, took out the farmland, and dropped it on the ground. The farmland rapidly expanded, and soon a piece of cultivated, fertile land appeared before him. Farmland plus. Level 10100. Quality. Ordinary white. Function. Planting. Area. 10x10. Li Chenxiao directly clicked. Plus. A divine light enveloped the farmland, and the next moment, the divine light dissipated, and the farmland changed its appearance. The fertile land transformed into silvery white soil, shimmering with a beautiful luminescence. Li Chenxiao immediately opened its attribute panel. Spirit Farmland. Type. Farmland. Level 103,200. Quality. Golden Legend. Function. Planting. Area. 10x10. Attribute. Spirit Soil. Level 1. Yield x10, 1x10. Quality of planted produce plus 1. Description. This is a rare, high-grade spirit farmland capable of planting any crop whose quality does not exceed the spirit farmland's level. Upon seeing this, Li Chenxiao's eyes lit up. For a lord, various magical farmlands are not uncommon, but there are two types of farmlands that are extremely rare. Possessing even one of them can make a lord a super powerhouse among farming-type lords. One type increases yield. Increased yield means rapid accumulation of wealth, allowing for the purchase of high-quality farmlands, snowballing into greater riches. The other type increases quality. Increased quality means the ability to plant higher quality crops. Ordinary crops only satisfy hunger, but high-quality crops can slowly increase the attributes of heroes, troops, and residents. Long-term consumption of high-quality food can even improve the quality of heroes, troops, and residents. The level of the spirit farmland is related to the quantity that can be planted. The higher the level of the spirit farmland, the more can be planted, and the higher the yield of grain and vegetables. The quantity planted is the sum of the current level. For example, a level 1 spirit farmland plants 100 seeds. A level 2 spirit farmland's yield is 100 plus 100 equals x2 equals 300 seeds. A level 3 spirit farmland's yield is 100x 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 600 seeds. A level 4 spirit farmland's yield is 100x 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 1000 seeds, and so on. Grains and vegetables also have quality distinctions. The quality of grains and vegetables is divided into white common, green excellent, blue fine, purple outstanding, orange epic, and golden legend. Quality comes from mutation. The ratio from white common to green excellent is 100:1, meaning if you plant white common grain or vegetables and harvest 10,000 caddies, 9,900 caddies will be white common and 100 caddies will be green excellent. The ratio from green excellent to blue fine is 100:1, from blue fine to purple outstanding is 100:1, from purple outstanding to orange epic is 100:1, and from orange epic to golden legend is 100:1. This means that if you plant white common grain or vegetables, you would need to harvest 10 billion caddies to get 1 caddy of golden legend. However, in the Lord era, there are many farming lords, so green excellent and blue fine are quite common in the market. Occasionally, purple outstanding quality grains and vegetables also circulate. As for orange epic and golden legend, they are not seen in the market. Even if they exist, they are controlled by the state and major families, they wouldn't sell them if they don't have enough for themselves. Another method is to plant high-quality grains and vegetables. For example, if you plant orange epic quality grains and vegetables, then out of a harvest of 10,000 caddies, 9,900 caddies would be orange epic and 100 caddies would be golden legend. However, high-quality grain and vegetable seeds rarely circulate in the market. Most farming lords simply plant large quantities of white common quality grains and vegetables, then use quantity to stack quality. Planting more will eventually yield high quality grains and vegetables. This has made up for Li Chenshao's last shortcoming. Lord attributes are diverse, and lord types are also diverse, but generally, they are divided into two types, warlord and non-warlord. Warlords primarily focus on developing heroes, summoning troops, and sustaining war through war. Non-warlords primarily focus on farming, producing food to sell to the state or warlords, and acquiring high-quality farmlands to grow high-quality food. Li Chenxiao initially planned to follow the warlord path, but warlords have a drawback: resource consumption. The early stages are manageable, but later, resource consumption becomes a significant expense. Hundreds of thousands, millions, or even tens of millions of heroes and troops mean daily consumption is an astronomical figure. Moreover, this is just for ordinary food. High-quality food is distributed internally by the state and major families, with only a very small amount flowing out. Anything that does flow out is at an exorbitant price and is almost impossible to acquire. Now with the spirit farmland, both yield and quality are secured. This means Li Chenxiao no longer needs to buy food from outside, he can be completely self-sufficient. If developed well, he can even export, supplementing his territory, which is simply perfect. Li Chenxiao then took out 2 more spirit farmland building models from his inventory and dropped them on the ground. Soon, 2 spirit farmlands identical to the first appeared before Li Chenxiao. With 3 spirit farmlands now, it was enough for the early stages. Li Chenxiao took out the last water well building model from his inventory and dropped it on an empty space. The building model expanded against the wind, and soon, an ancient-style pumping water well appeared before him. Water well plus. Level 10100. Quality: white common. Function: drinking. Li Chenxiao directly clicked plus. A divine light enveloped the water well. The next moment, the divine light dissipated, and the water well transformed. It grew several times larger and no longer had a pumping device, just an opening. The water inside was already full, as if it could overflow at any moment. The well water was crystal clear, and blue-green light dots shimmered above the wellhead. Li Chenxiao opened the attribute panel. Full moon well. Level 103,200. Quality Golden Legend. Function Drinking. Attribute Blessing of the Moon Goddess instantly restores a certain amount of stamina and spirit. Long-term consumption has the effect of whitening skin and nourishing beauty. Inventory 100 100 represents 100 tons. A full moon appears above the wellhead every night. Recovery rate 1 night, 10x10. Description Blessed by the Moon Goddess, it possesses incredible power. Another good item. With all the buildings now placed, Li Chenxiao went back to find Yu Yao and the others, planning to cultivate the 3 spirit farmlands with them. When Li Chenxiao returned to the small wooden house, only Yu Yao was sitting there. Seeing Li Chenxiao enter, she smiled at him and said, "Young master, are you done with your work?" As she spoke, she picked up the teapot and teacups from the table and poured Li Chenxiao a cup of tea. "Yes, I'm done. Later, call the Yuwa Palace disciples, and we'll go plant some vegetables in the spirit farmland together. The restaurant is already set up, so planting vegetables early means we can enjoy the delicious food sooner," Li Chenxiao said, picking up the teacup and draining its contents. Yu Yao took the empty teacup from Li Chenxiao's hand, refilled it, and said, "When the monsters invaded earlier, I saw that young master's complexion wasn't particularly good. Is something amiss?" "Yes, I am a bit worried," Li Chenxiao said. "The monsters that appeared today were fallen ones and fallen one shamans. Their quality was excellent. This type of excellent quality monster shouldn't appear within the first week. Later, they usually appear mixed with ordinary white common quality monsters, and not in particularly large numbers each wave. However, all the monsters that appeared today were of excellent quality, and their number was twice that of yesterday. According to the void rules, more and more will appear later, and their quality will become higher and higher. I'm worried about what quality of monsters will appear later, and their numbers are also unknown. Young master, rest assured, we will definitely protect your safety. Although they are all legends, there are differences even among legends. Moreover, there's a 10x bonus from the territory's unique features, a 2x bonus for exclusive troops, and the bond bonus of the Yuwa Palace disciples. Even if all who come today are legends, I alone can easily kill them." Li Chenxiao thought that Yu Yao was right. As a top figure in peerless double pride, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that she was the child of destiny of that world. How could her talent and abilities be weak if she could become the child of destiny of a world? Furthermore, as the monsters grew stronger, Li Chenxiao and Yu Yao also grew stronger. There was also the Arrow Tower. With the Arrow Tower's current attack and defense, even legendary troops couldn't break its defense, and its attacks were one arrow, one kill. Thinking of this, Li Chenxiao also breathed a sigh of relief. He would meet soldiers with generals and water with earth. He refused to believe he couldn't pass the void trial. I trust you all. Let's go gather the Yuwa Palace disciples and head to the restaurant to eat first, so you can taste my cooking. Then, we'll go farming together. Alright, then we will trouble the young master. We will assist the young master when the time comes. Li Chenxiao took Yu Yao and called upon the Yuwa Palace disciples. A group of 7 arrived at the Jade Nectar Pavilion. Upon entering the restaurant, Yu Yao and the others couldn't help but exclaim, "It's so beautiful." Li Chenxiao told Yu Yao to take them directly to the main hall, while he went straight to the kitchen, ready to showcase his many years of culinary skill. In his previous life, Li Chenxiao cooked for himself. Although he wasn't as good as a hotel chef, it was more than enough for his own meals. After coming to this world, he had also been cooking for himself. Now, his cooking skills were good enough to be called a master chef. Taking out the prepared ingredients and using the restaurant's seasonings, Li Chenxiao began to cook. While he was cooking, he heard Yu Yao say, "Young master, I'll help you." Then, he saw Yu Yao slowly walk in. Li Chenxiao didn't refuse, and the two of them became busy in the kitchen, one cooking, the other responsible for picking and washing vegetables. It was warm and romantic. Soon, 6 dishes and 1 soup were ready. He and Yu Yao brought all the food and soup to the table, smiling, "Come and taste my cooking." "Thank you, young master." After Li Chenxiao sat down, everyone began to eat together. After a few bites, Li Chenxiao asked expectantly, "How is it?" The taste isn't bad, right? It's delicious. I've never eaten such delicious food. It's a pity none of us can cook. Young master, how about teaching us to cook in your free time? Then we can take responsibility for the kitchen. All right, I'll teach you when I have time. After dinner, they rested for a while and ate some after-meal fruit. Then, Li Chenxiao took Yu Yao and the others to the spiritual fields to plant. Li Chenxiao had brought a month's worth of food for 200 people, which seemed enough for the current situation. However, for the long term, he needed to plant some high-yield food. So, he decided to plant tomatoes, cucumbers, and carrots. They could be stir-fried, eaten as fruit, and had a decent yield. The Lord's Heart architecture was unique. When Li Chenxiao brought Yu Yao and the others to the spiritual fields, there was already a prompt, a maximum of 100 seeds. Li Chenxiao handed them the sickles and, following the spiritual fields prompt, planted the seeds one by one. As he took out a bottle of mineral water from his inventory, preparing to water, his gaze fell upon the full moon well nearby. Since the full moon well had such magical effects, he wondered if it would also affect the spiritual fields. All territory buildings had magical properties, dust removal and repulsion. This meant that buildings in the territory would remain as they were, without a speck of dust, even if not cleaned for years. Dust, dirt, and other water impurities could not enter the water. 1 ton could be restored overnight, and after the full moon well's level increased, its storage and recovery would greatly increase, allowing the water from the full moon well to be used freely. Thinking of this, Li Chenxiao directly took out a wash basin, scooped up a basin of water, returned to the edge of the spiritual field, and began to water. Young master, won't it be a waste to use water from the full moon well for irrigation? Yu Yao asked from the side. Li Chenxiao smiled and said, don't worry about water resources. The water in the full moon well replenishes every day. I'm just conducting an experiment to see if it also works on the spiritual fields. Even if it doesn't, it's no big deal. Yu Yao nodded and began to help Li Chenxiao water. The 7 of them quickly finished watering one of the spiritual fields. After watering, a mist swirled above the spiritual field, appearing colorful and beautiful under the sunlight. Seeing this, Li Chenxiao thought that the spiritual field and the water from the full moon well must have taken effect. He opened the attribute panel of this spiritual field. Tomato. Type. Plant seed. Level. None. Quality. White. Yield. 5,000 catties. Cycle. 30 days. Bonus. Spiritual soil, yield x10. Quality +1. Final harvest of 50,000 catties per cycle. Blessing of the moon goddess, quality +1. Final harvest of 50,000 catties of blue quality tomatoes per cycle. Seeing this, Li Chenxiao's eyes lit up. Very effective. The quality has increased by +1 again, reaching blue quality. This is already equivalent to strategic materials. Li Chenxiao said to Yu Yao, Yuaa, from now on, always use the water from the full moon well for irrigation. We'll also switch to using the water from the full moon well for our daily needs. Yes, young master. Li Chenxiao then planted cucumbers and carrots with Yu Yao and the others. Cucumber. Type. Plant seed. Level. None. Quality. White. Yield. 5,000 catties. Cycle. 30 days. Bonus. Spiritual soil, yield x10. Quality +1. Final harvest of 50,000 catties per cycle. Blessing of the moon goddess, quality +1. Final harvest of 50,000 catties of blue quality cucumbers per cycle. Carrot. Type. Plant seed. Level. None. Quality. White. Yield. 5,000 catties. Cycle. 30 days. Bonus. Spiritual soil, yield x10. Quality +1. Final harvest of 50,000 catties per cycle. Blessing of the moon goddess, quality +1. Final harvest of 50,000 catties of blue quality carrots per cycle. Time passed in such busyness, and soon a day went by. In the afternoon of the 3rd day, Li Chenxiao was strolling around the territory with Yu Yao and the others when, suddenly, from the depths of the gray fog, shadows emerged. Today's monster invasion was the same as yesterday's, all fallen ones and fallen shamans, but the number was much larger, and they looked stronger than yesterday's. They were a dense, dark mass, stretching as far as the eye could see. Just as Li Chenxiao was about to control the arrow tower to shoot them down, Yu Yao spoke up to stop him. Young master, let us go. They didn't get to fight yesterday. Having arrived in this great world of the Lord's heart, they will have to fight void monsters sooner or later. The sooner they fight, the sooner they adapt. Hearing this, Li Chenxiao said, then be careful. Yu Yao led the Yue Palace disciples and charged towards the fallen ones and fallen shamans. The 6 individuals moved nimbly through the monster horde, and with every strike, a fallen one or fallen shaman fell. Soon, the dark mass of monsters turned into treasure chests, and at the same time, a message came from Li Chenxiao's Lord's heart. Battle ended. Calculating rewards. Battle settlement. Enemies. 600 level 2 fallen ones and fallen 1 shamans. Battle result. Complete victory. Battle rating. SSS. Basic rewards. 1200 void source stones, 1200 void source crystals. Additional rewards, SSS, 12,000 void source stones, 12,000 void source crystals, territory buildings Arrow Tower X25, Farmland X25, Forge X1. Looking at the battle results, Li Chenxiao felt a surge of excitement. SSS rank rewards are indeed generous. He wondered how abundant the rewards would be if he persevered to the very end. After Yu Yao and the others collected the treasure chests, it was time for the thrilling unboxing segment. In his previous life, Li Chenxiao was quite fond of such gacha-style draws, and most games featured this type of mechanic. Obtained. 5 void source crystals. Obtained. 3 void source crystals, 5 void source stones. Obtained. 6 void source crystals. Obtained. 3 void source stones. Obtained. Scimitar, 3 void source crystals. Obtained. Arrow Tower, 8 void source crystals. In total, the treasure chests yielded 3,200 void source crystals, 2,600 void source stones, 18 arrow towers, 12 farmlands, 60 scimitars, and 10 staves. The total gains from this wave of monsters are as follows. Void source crystals, 16,400. Void source stones, 15,800. Territory buildings, 43 arrow towers, 37 farmlands, 1 forge, 60 scimitars, 10 staves, and various other miscellaneous items. Li Chenxiao's remaining resources from last time were void source crystals, 7,380. Void source stones, 5,320. Territory buildings, 27 arrow towers, 15 farmlands. Adding this times haul, Li Chenxiao now has a total of void source crystals, 23,780. Void source stones, 21,120. Territory buildings, 70 arrow towers, 52 farmlands, 1 forge. Looking at the resources in his hand, Li Chenxiao pondered how to best utilize them. His territory had already reached level 2, and other buildings could also be upgraded to level 2. One rule of the Lord era is that a building's level cannot exceed the territory's level. A barracks level only limits the number of troops that can be recruited, not their level, but troops' levels cannot exceed the territory's level, and heroes' levels cannot exceed the altar's level. First, the Yue Palace needed upgrading. Li Chenxiao had witnessed the combat power of the Yue Palace disciples, and upgrading the Yue Palace to level 2 would allow him to summon 20 more Yue disciples, for a total of 30. He had currently summoned 5, so he could still summon 25 Yue Palace disciples. Second, the Myriad Realms Goddess Palace needed upgrading. This would allow Yu Yao to also reach level 2, making her even more powerful. Troops upgrade consumption is as follows. White Common Troops, from level 1 to 2, consumes 10 Void Source Stones. Each subsequent level consumes 10x the sum of current levels. For example, from level 4 to 5, it's 100. Green Excellent Troops, from level 1 to 2, consumes 20 Void Source Stones. Each subsequent level consumes 10x the sum of current levels. For example, from level 4 to 5, it's 200. Blue Fine Troops, from level 1 to 2, consumes 40 Void Source Stones. Each subsequent level consumes 10x the sum of current levels. For example, from level 4 to 5, it's 400. Purple Outstanding Troops, from level 1 to 2, consumes 80 Void Source Stones. Each subsequent level consumes 10x the sum of current levels. For example, from level 4 to 5, it's 800. Orange Epic Troops, from level 1 to 2, consumes 160 Void Source Stones. Each subsequent level consumes 10x the sum of current levels. For example, from level 4 to 5, it's 1600. Golden Legend troops, from level 1 to 2, consumes 320 Void Source Stones. Each subsequent level consumes 10x the sum of current levels. For example, from level 4 to 5, it's 3200. Hero upgrade consumption is as follows. White heroes are 2 times that of white troops. Green heroes are 2 times that of green troops. Blue heroes are 2 times that of blue troops. Purple heroes are 3 times that of purple troops. Orange heroes are 4 times that of orange troops. Golden heroes are 5 times that of golden troops. The arrow towers, spirit fields, and restaurants did not need upgrading for now. Finally, it was time to place the stone walls and the forge. Li Chenxiao mentally reviewed everything, and finding no omissions, he began to act. Li Chenxiao first arrived in front of the Myriad Realms Goddess Palace. Upgrade. Myriad Realms Goddess Palace. Level 1 right pointing arrow 2. Hero level cap unlocked to level 2. Li Chenxiao then spent 1600 Void Source Stones to raise Yu Yao's level to 2. Yu Yao. Others omitted. Level 2. Affection 88. Constitution 10,600. Spirit 10,600. The moment Li Chenxiao upgraded her, Yu Yao, who was in the small wooden house, felt a warm current flow through her entire body, and her combat power instantly surged. Yu Yao's eyes lit up. Is this young master's ability? How magical. It doesn't require arduous cultivation, it just increases directly. Li Chenxiao found Yu Yao, and brought her to the Yue Palace. He first upgraded the Yue Palace, then recruited 25 Yue Palace disciples, and had Yu Yao lead them to familiarize themselves with the territory. Finally, Li Chenxiao arrived at the north side of the territory, took out the forge's building model, and threw it to the ground. The model expanded rapidly in the wind, and soon, an ancient blacksmith's shop appeared before his eyes, with a hammer emblem on it. Forge Plus. Level 10100. Quality Common White. Function Craft Equipment. Description An ordinary forge. What good equipment can you expect it to forge? Li Chenxiao directly clicked the plus sign. A divine light flew out, enveloping the forge. When the divine light dissipated, the forge before him had transformed significantly. Li Chenxiao directly opened the forge's attribute panel. Immortal Armory. Level 103,200. Quality Golden Legend. Function Craft Equipment. Attribute Exclusive equipment can custom craft exclusive equipment according to troops, and the equipment's quality will be the same as the troops' quality. Seeing this, Li Chenxiao smiled. As expected of the Chaos Azure Lotus, every mutation was incredibly powerful. Although he had anticipated that the mutation wouldn't be too bad, this still exceeded Li Chenxiao's expectations. Equipment crafting is complex, requiring blueprints to forge equipment. Blueprints also have qualities. A white common blueprint cannot forge green quality equipment. It can only forge equipment of the same quality as the blueprint. High-quality blueprints are priceless and rarely sold. High-quality equipment blueprints are strategic resources. Currently, there are 2 sources of equipment for lords. One is dropping equipment from killing monsters in the endless void, and the other is having a forge and blueprints to mass-produce equipment themselves. Many high-level lords, troops are currently wearing blue equipment, or some are wearing purple equipment. In terms of previous game parlance, they are mixed sets, perhaps their weapons are purple, while their clothes and shoes are blue. The reason for this is the scarcity of blueprints. Now, Li Chenxiao had directly solved these problems. As long as there were high-quality troops, corresponding high-quality equipment would be produced. Equipment quality is also divided into white common, green excellent, blue fine, purple outstanding, orange epic, and golden legend. Equipment also has many restrictions, the most important of which is that the equipment's level cannot exceed that of the Immortal Armory. It's impossible for a level 1 Immortal Armory to craft level 5 or level 10 equipment. A level 1 Immortal Armory can only craft level 1 equipment. The higher the quality of troops' equipment, the more traits it has. White common equipment has no traits. Green excellent equipment has 1 trait. Blue fine equipment has 2 traits. Purple outstanding equipment has 3 traits. Orange epic equipment has 4 traits. Golden legend equipment has 5 traits. Equipment is further divided into troops equipment and hero equipment. Regardless of whether it's troops equipment or hero equipment, it's also divided into loose, set, and exclusive equipment. The difference between loose, set, and exclusive equipment is that loose and set equipment can be traded, while exclusive equipment can only be used by the corresponding troops and heroes, and cannot be traded. It can also be understood that exclusive equipment is bound equipment. Both loose and set equipment can drop, but exclusive equipment cannot drop. This means that if the enemy lord's troops and heroes are not wearing exclusive equipment, there is a certain chance that their equipment will drop after killing them. However, if the enemy lord's troops and heroes are wearing exclusive equipment, no equipment will drop even if they are killed. Troops equipment only has traits, and troops equipment, whether loose or exclusive, can only be upgraded, not star ranked. Hero equipment, in addition to traits, also has attribute bonuses for physique and spirit, and a hero's exclusive equipment can be star ranked. White common hero exclusive equipment can be star ranked up to 3 stars, green excellent hero exclusive equipment up to 4 stars, blue fine hero exclusive equipment up to 5 stars, purple outstanding hero exclusive equipment up to 6 stars, orange epic hero exclusive equipment up to 7 stars, and golden legend hero exclusive equipment up to 9 stars. For every 1 star increase in quality, physique and spirit double. The initial star ranking costs 10 times that of equipment upgrading, and the cost doubles with each subsequent star ranking. If star ranking is done at a low level, after the equipment is upgraded to a higher level, an additional void source crystal cost must be paid to fully compensate for the star ranking costs. For example, a golden legend quality equipment at level 1 costs 3,200 void source crystals to go from 0 to 1 star. 6,400 void source crystals to go from 1 to 2 stars, 12,800 void source crystals to go from 2 to 3 stars, 25,600 void source crystals to go from 3 to 4 stars, 51,200 void source crystals to go from 4 to 5 stars, 102,400 void source crystals to go from 5 to 6 stars, 204,800 void source crystals to go from 6 to 7 stars, 409,600 void source crystals to go from 7 to 8 stars, and 819,200 void source crystals to go from 8 to 9 stars. This means that a level 1 golden legend quality equipment upgraded to 9 stars will require a total of 1,635,200 void source crystals. If the equipment is upgraded to level 2, it will cost 9,600 void source crystals to go from level 2 to 1 star. 19,200 void source crystals to go from level 2 1 star to 2 stars. 38,400 void source crystals to go from level 2 2 stars to 3 stars, 76,800 void source crystals to go from level 2 3 stars to 4 stars, 153,600 void source crystals to go from level 2 4 stars to 5 stars, 307,200 void source crystals to go from level 2 5 stars to 6 stars, 614,400 void source crystals to go from level 2 6 stars to 7 stars, 1,228,800 void source crystals to go from level 2 7 stars to 8 stars, and 2,457,600 void source crystals to go from level 2 8 stars to 9 stars. A level 2 golden legend quality equipment upgraded to 9 stars will require a total of 4,905,600 void source crystals. For legend quality equipment, upgrading from level 1 1 star to 9 star, then to level 2, requires an additional 3,270,400 void source crystals. If there are not enough void source crystals, the upgrade cannot proceed. The physique and spirit bonuses from hero equipment are based on the equipment's quality. Level 1 white common equipment grants +1 physique and spirit. For every level increase, the added attributes are physique and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 results in +3, upgrading to level 3 results in +6, and so on. Level 1 green excellent equipment grants +2 physique and spirit. For every level increase, the added attributes are physique and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 results in +6, upgrading to level 3 results in +1 2, and so on. Level 1 Blue Fine equipment grants plus 4 physique and spirit. For every level increase, the added attributes or physique and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 results in plus 1 2, upgrading to level 3 results in plus 2 4, and so on. Level 1 Purple Outstanding equipment grants plus 8 physique and spirit. For every level increase, the added attributes or physique and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 results in plus 2 4, upgrading to level 3 results in plus 4 8, and so on. Level 1 Orange Epic equipment grants plus 1 6 physique and spirit. For every level increase, the added attributes or physique and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 results in plus 4 8, upgrading to level 3 results in plus 9 6, and so on. Level 1 Golden Legend equipment grants plus 3 2 physique and spirit. For every level increase, the added attributes or physique and spirit multiplied by the current level. For example, upgrading to level 2 results in plus 9 6, upgrading to level 3 results in plus 1 9 2, and so on. If a hero's exclusive equipment is star ranked to the highest star for its current quality, it will gain an additional multiplier to its physique and spirit, on top of the original base increase. Level 1 White Common equipment upgraded to 3 stars increases physique and spirit by 4. Level 2 upgraded to 3 stars increases physique and spirit by 12. Level 3 upgraded to 3 stars increases physique and spirit by 24. Level 1 Green Excellent equipment upgraded to 4 stars increases physique and spirit by 10. Level 2 upgraded to 4 stars increases physique and spirit by 30. Level 3 upgraded to 4 stars increases physique and spirit by 60. Level 1 Blue Fine equipment upgraded to 5 stars increases physique and spirit by 24. Level 2 upgraded to 5 stars increases physique and spirit by 72. Level 3 upgraded to 5 stars increases physique and spirit by 144. Level 1 Purple Outstanding equipment upgraded to 6 stars increases physique and spirit by 56. Level 2 upgraded to 6 stars increases physique and spirit by 168. Level 3 upgraded to 6 stars increases physique and spirit by 336. Level 1 Orange Epic equipment upgraded to 7 stars increases physique and spirit by 128. Level 2 upgraded to 7 stars increases physique and spirit by 384. Level 3 upgraded to 7 stars increases physique and spirit by 768. Level 1 Golden Legend equipment upgraded to 9 stars increases physique and spirit by 320. Level 2 upgraded to 9 stars increases physique and spirit by 960. Level 3 upgraded to 9 stars increases physique and spirit by 1920. Sets in Lord Era do not provide additional attributes, but the price of a set in Lord Era is the same as a single piece. A single piece of white common costs 10 source crystals. A white common set also costs 10 source crystals. A single piece of green excellent costs 20 source crystals. A green excellent set also costs 20 source crystals. A single piece of blue fine costs 40 source crystals. A blue fine set also costs 40 source crystals. A single piece of purple outstanding costs 80 source crystals. A blue fine set also costs 80 source crystals. A single piece of Orange Epic costs 160 source crystals. An Orange Epic set also costs 160 source crystals. A single piece of Golden Legend costs 320 source crystals. A Golden Legend set also costs 320 source crystals. The level of troops equipment cannot exceed that of the troops. The cost of equipment upgrading is the same as that of troops, except that troops upgrading consumes source stones, while equipment upgrading consumes source crystals. Li Chenxiao opened the Immortal Armory's trait panel, and indeed, several new types of standardized equipment had appeared. Troops equipment: Yiwa Jade Hairpin, Yiwa Palace Robe, Yiwa Jade Sword. Yiwa Jade Hairpin. Quality: Golden Legend. Type: Troops exclusive. Level 1. Traits: Penetration, Knockback, Ricochet, Accuracy, Weak Point Attack. Penetration: Deals penetrating damage to enemies. Knockback: If the enemy's defense is too high to penetrate, it causes a knockback effect on the enemy. Ricochet: After the jade hairpin is shot, it will return to the hand. Accuracy: After the jade hairpin is shot, it will definitely hit the enemy. Weak point attack. After the jade hairpin is shot, it specifically targets the enemy's weak points. Yiwa Palace Robe. Quality: Golden Legend. Type: Troops exclusive. Level 1. Traits: Immaculate, Body Protection, Melee Damage Reduction, Range Damage Reduction, Increased Dual Defense. Immaculate. The clothes are always clean and tidy. Body Protection. When an attack exceeds the maximum tolerable capacity, body protection is triggered, resisting the current damage, once per day. Melee Damage Reduction. Reduces damage taken from melee attacks. Range Damage Reduction. Reduces damage taken from ranged attacks. Increased Dual Defense. Increases physical defense and magical defense. Yiwa Jade Sword. Quality: Golden Legend. Type: Troops exclusive. Level 1. Traits: Armor Break, Evil Slaying, Bleed, Grievous Wound, Critical Hit. Armor Break. Deals additional damage to armor. Evil Slaying. Attacks have a holy attribute, dealing massive damage to dark creatures. Bleed. After dealing damage to an enemy, causes a bleeding effect. Grievous Wound. Inflicts a grievous wound effect on the enemy, reducing the enemy's recovery speed. Critical Hit. Each attack deals double damage to the enemy. Li Chenxiao had Yu Yao take 30 Yiwa Palace disciples to the Immortal Armory, where he spent 9,600 Void Source crystals to craft 30 sets of equipment for them. When they first emerged, their equipment was plain white, without any special attributes. After changing into the new gear, they immediately appeared more ethereal and agile. The many beauties said in unison, "Thank you, young master." Li Chenxiao smiled and said, "You're welcome. All of you may return for now. I will call upon you when needed." "Yes, young master," they responded, bowing respectfully before withdrawing. "The Immortal Armory is truly wondrous," Yu Yao remarked, looking at everything before her. Li Chenxiao glanced at Yu Yao with an apologetic look and said, "My apologies, Yuaa. I will find you even better equipment next time." Yu Yao shook her head, a hint of shyness in her voice. "Young master, what are you saying? The longsword you gave me is perfectly fine. Besides, if I wanted to wear equipment, I actually could." Li Chenxiao looked at Yu Yao in surprise. "You can also wear troops' equipment." "Yes, I can only wear the Yiwa Palace Disciples set. Other equipment won't work." Li Chenxiao then spent another 320 Void Source crystals to craft a set for Yu Yao. Li Chenxiao looked at the resources in his hand and sighed. These buildings, troops, equipment, and hero qualities were high, but the cost was also substantial. The resources accumulated over several rounds were almost entirely spent in one go. Void Source Crystal, 5,860. Void Source Stone, 9,520. In the endless void, Li Chenxiao's days passed in ease and comfort. On the fourth day, over 600 void monsters appeared, including more than 200 of white quality, over 400 of green excellent quality, and a few blue quality elite monsters mixed in. The monsters no longer swarmed in, but began to scatter and ambush. However, in the face of Yu Yao and her group's powerful attributes, all their efforts were futile, and they were all slain. On the fifth day, over 600 void monsters arrived, with dozens of them being blue quality elite monsters. On the sixth day, over 600 void monsters arrived, with over 100 blue quality elite monsters. On the seventh day, Li Chenxiao and Yu Yao's group arrived at the south side of the territory early. In the past few days, the number of invading void monsters had increased exponentially, and their cunning had grown visibly. They fought in shifts, sometimes a portion in the morning, another in the evening, with occasional ambushes in between. If not for the immense strength of Yu Yao and her group, the territory's defenses would have long been breached. Of course, greater danger brought greater rewards. The territory had now been upgraded to level 5, with an area of 48,000 square meters. The Myriad Realms Goddess Palace had been upgraded to level 3, Yu Yao's level had increased to 3, and the Yiwa Palace Disciples, levels and exclusive equipment had all been upgraded to level 3. Nothing else had been upgraded, but overall, the territory's power was significantly stronger than a few days prior. Most importantly, after these few days of interaction, Yu Yao's favorability had increased by another 3 points, breaking past 90 points to reach 91 points. Li Chenxiao said, "Everyone, be careful. Today is the 7th day, and the void monsters will have a strengthened wave. Understood, young master. After several days of battle, Yu Yao and the Yuwa Palace disciples had developed a hint of killing intent, adding a heroic aura to their already cold demeanor. Li Chenxiao looked at the mist outside, his brows furrowed. It was past 11 a.m., and figures of void monsters had already appeared in the mist, yet they were not eager to attack. Instead, they lingered in the mist, seemingly waiting for something. As far as the eye could see, the void monsters were densely packed, stretching endlessly, with nothing but dark shadows. After the previous few waves of void monster invasions, Li Chenxiao had already arranged for Yuwa Palace disciples to guard the southern side 24 hours a day in shifts, ready to call for support if an invasion was detected. Today was a special period, with strengthened void monsters. Aside from the disciples on rotation for rest, Li Chenxiao and Yu Yao's group had all been waiting there early. This waiting was the most agonizing. As time ticked by, minute by minute, it was past 3 p.m. Just as Li Chenxiao felt a bit tired and considered sitting down to rest, the void monsters in the mist outside finally moved. A dense, dark mass charged out. Each of them was 5 meters tall, with thick, dark fur and robust limbs, somewhat resembling gorillas from his previous life, but far more powerful. They wielded enormous spiked clubs and rapidly rushed towards the territory. Void Behemoth. Level 8. Quality Blue. Constitution 245. Spirit 144. Skills. Throw, Constitution increase. Void Behemoth Elite. Level 9. Quality Blue. Constitution 655. Spirit 360. Skills. Throw, Constitution increase. Void Behemoth Chieftain. Level 10. Quality Blue. Constitution 1386. Spirit 660. Skills. Throw, Constitution increase, command. When commanding void behemoths, all allies' constitution increases by 40%. Seeing this, Li Chenxiao's face turned solemn. Previously, the void monsters that appeared were all the same level as the territory. But this time, there were countless level 8s, a small number of level 9s, and finally, a level 10 chieftain, and one that provided a full buff to its subordinates. Li Chenxiao said to Yu Yao, all of you be careful, especially of their throw skill. Yes, we will, Yu Yao said, leading her group out to charge. On the south side of the territory, the void monsters surged out like a flood, threatening to engulf the territory. The whooshing sound of arrow towers, the roars of the void monsters, and the battle cries of Yu Yao and her group merged into a single cacophony. Large numbers of void monsters fell to the ground, slain by Yu Yao's group in the arrow towers. Looking at the people fighting, Li Chenxiao directly opened their attribute panels. Yu Yao. Others omitted. Level 3. Favorability 91. Constitution 20,200. Spirit 20,200. Yuwa Palace Disciples. Others omitted. Level 3. Favorability 82. Constitution 4,040. Spirit 4,040. Li Chenxiao watched the battle from within the territory. In the Lord era, a Lord's combat power primarily relied on their territory. Whether it was heroes, troops, territory buildings, territory characteristics, world wonders, all of these were part of the territory. Very few lords personally went into battle, especially new lords. A new lord initially had combat power similar to an ordinary white quality troop. Only after reaching level 10, when a lord could gain hero power, could they participate in combat. But even then, it was still rare. After all, if troops and heroes died, they could still be resurrected with special buildings. But if a lord died in the early stages, they were truly dead. Watching an arrow tower kill a void monster with a single shot, Li Chenxiao couldn't help but sigh, truly worthy of being an early game artifact. During his time studying at school, the teacher's development advice was to first summon a hero, rely on fences to kill monsters, and after obtaining resources, start summoning militias. They were to fight to sustain themselves, and once they acquired arrow towers, they should stop summoning and focus on developing and upgrading arrow towers. Once resources were abundant, they could continue summoning and upgrading troops, thereby completing the Lord's transformation. But purely following that path wasn't suitable for me. Developing heroes, troops, and tower defense together is the true path. Li Chenxiao thought, looking at the territory's characteristics. The tower defense style was also one of the mainstream lord types. It was a war-oriented lord, but not entirely so. Because tower defense lords primarily focused on developing tower defenses, they lacked offensive power but had incredibly strong defenses. Lords of the same quality would find it very difficult to surpass a tower defense lord in terms of defense. Fighting a tower defense lord was a headache for all war-oriented lords. It was like a turtle, difficult to deal with, but there was no need to fear a tower defense lord either, because their heroes and troops were relatively weak, so there was no need to worry about their offense. Generally, war-oriented lords would not fight tower defense lords. Fighting a tower defense lord was practically killing 1,000 enemies at the cost of 800 of one's own, and there was even a chance of losing. The battle outside the territory continued. Thousands of ordinary void behemoths, hundreds of elite void behemoths, and one void behemoth chieftain. The land outside the territory was already stained red with blood, littered with dismembered limbs, and the bodies hadn't even had time to turn into treasure chests. Li Chenxiao's face was a bit pale. Having lived 2 lives, he had never directly faced such a scene. It took him a long while to calm down and feel a little better. After another long while, a message came from Li Chenxiao's lord's heart. Battle ended. Commencing settlement. Battle settlement. Enemies. 1500 level 8 void behemoths, 100 level 9 void behemoth elites, 1 void behemoth chieftain. Battle result. Complete victory. Battle evaluation. SSS. Basic reward. 3202 void source stones, 3202 void source crystals. Additional reward, SSS, 32,020 void source stones, 32,020 void source crystals, territory building Arrow Tower X65, Farmland X60, Bathhouse X1, Stonewall X1. After receiving the battle settlement information, Li Chenxiao walked directly out of his territory. Yu Yao and the others had already begun to clean up the battlefield. Li Chenxiao came before Yu Yao and said, "Yuaa, you all have worked hard. Go back and wash up, get some good rest. I'll clean up the battlefield. I will stay with young master, all of you go back and rest first," Yu Yao said to the Yue Palace disciples. Yes, great palace master, the Yue Palace disciples said before returning to the territory. Yuaa, you should also go back and rest. Today's monster invasion is over, and there won't be any more monsters. Go back and get some rest quickly. In the future, there will be more and more monsters, and they will become increasingly difficult to deal with. Understood, young master, Yu Yao said, bowing to Li Chenxiao, before also returning to the territory. Watching them all leave, Li Chenxiao began to pick up the treasure chests on the ground. As he walked, although the corpses had disappeared, the bloodstains all over the ground had not. His nose was filled with a strong smell of blood. More than half an hour later, Li Chenxiao finally finished collecting all the treasure chests. Back in the small house in the territory, Yu Yao was already lying on the bed resting. Having just showered, she looked more down to earth than usual. Dressed in pajamas, she appeared lazy and charming, with a faint smile on her face, probably having a sweet dream. Li Chenxiao did not disturb her and opened the treasure chests by himself. Obtained 6 void source crystals. Obtained 4 void source crystals, 3 void source stones. Obtained 7 void source crystals. Obtained 2 void source stones. Obtained 3 void source crystals, common equipment blunt mace. Obtained Arrow Tower, 6 void source crystals. After opening chests for over an hour, all the other treasure chests were opened, leaving only the last boss treasure chest. Li Chenxiao rubbed his hands, a little excited, wondering what kind of equipment would appear. Opening the boss treasure chest, there were only 2 items inside, a necklace and 2 attribute points. Li Chenxiao first took out the necklace. Silver Moon Dream. Level 1. Quality Blue. Attributes: Constitution +4, Spirit +4. Special abilities: Silver Moon Protection, Water Evasion. Silver Moon Protection. When attacked, a full moon will appear to resist damage. The damage resisted is current Constitution plus Spirit. Cooldown: 1 hour. Water Evasion. Allows one to move freely in water, for a limited time of 1 hour. Cooldown. 1 day. Li Chenxiao looked at the equipment's attributes, they were decent. Aside from Silver Moon protection being good, the other special ability had limitations and was useless during the novice trial. It is important to note here that the level of equipment dropped by monsters will always revert to the initial level 1. For example, equipment dropped by a level 100 monster will also become level 1. This is one of the void rules. For a lord, this is more beneficial than detrimental. For instance, if you are level 10 and kill a level 15 monster, and it drops level 15 equipment, you won't be able to equip it until your territory reaches level 15. However, if the initial level is 1, as long as you have Void Source Crystals, you can spend Void Source Crystals to upgrade the equipment to level 10 and equip it immediately. When Yu Yao wakes up, I'll give it to her. Finally, there are the attribute points. The number of items opened from the treasure chest was a bit disappointing for a boss. However, attribute points are very difficult to obtain, you might not get one even after killing 10 bosses. And this one boss gave 2, which is already quite rare. Attribute points are not needed for now, they will be used when the Lord reaches level 20. More details will be provided later. The treasure chests yielded a total of 11,220 Void Source Crystals, 9,800 Void Source Stones, 45 Arrow Towers, 40 Farmlands, 1 Necklace, and 2 Attribute Points. The total gains from this wave of monsters are as follows. Void Source Crystals, 46,442. Void Source Stones, 45,022. Territory Buildings, 110 Arrow Towers, 100 Farmlands, 1 Bathhouse, 1 Stone Wall, 1 Necklace, 2 Attribute Points, and various other equipment and sundries. Adding the remaining resources from previous waves, Li Chenxiao currently has Void Source Crystals, 121,782. Void Source Stones, 61,222. Territory Buildings, 322 Arrow Towers, 278 Farmlands, 1 Bathhouse, 1 Stone Wall, 1 Necklace, 2 Attribute Points, and various other equipment and sundries. Li Chenxiao first spent 38,400 Void Source Stones to raise the level of the Yuwa Palace disciples to level 4. Seeing more than half of his Void Source Stones instantly disappear, Li Chenxiao's heart twitched. The resources seemed abundant, but the expenses were also huge. Just upgrading 30 Yuwa Palace disciples from level 3 to level 4 cost this much. When there are hundreds of thousands or millions later, the cost will be astronomical. Li Chenxiao then went to the corner of the territory, took out the bathhouse, and threw it onto an empty plot. The building model expanded against the wind, and soon a modern-style bathhouse appeared before him. Bathhouse Plus. Level 10100. Quality Common White. Function Bathing. Li Chenxiao directly clicked on the plus sign. A divine light shot out, enveloping the bathhouse. When the divine light dissipated, the bathhouse before him had undergone a great transformation. Watching Pool. Type Bathhouse. Level 103,200. Quality Golden Legend. Functions Bathing, Fatigue Relief, Living Water Hot Spring. Area 100 square meters. Inventory 1100 x 10. Inventory resets daily. Seeing the description, Li Chenxiao felt a surge of excitement. Finally, there was a place to bathe. For the past few days, he had been using a wooden bucket to fetch water from the full moon well for washing. Nothing beats the pleasure of soaking in a hot spring. Li Chenxiao came to the fence, first dismantled everything, then took out the stone wall building. He threw it onto the ground, and the building model expanded against the wind. Soon, a 3-meter-high city wall enclosed the territory. Stone Wall Plus. Level 10/1 of a per square meter. Quality Common White. Function All-round defense. Defense 110 x 10. Durability 5000 500 x 10. Li Chenxiao directly clicked on the plus sign. A divine light shot out, enveloping the stone wall. When the divine light dissipated, the stone wall before him had undergone a great transformation. The stone wall became taller, about 20 meters high, with dense, dark gray divine patterns carved all over it, making the stone wall look even more ancient and substantial. Thorn Stone Wall. Level 1030 seconds of a per square meter. Quality. Golden Legend. Function. All-round defense. Defense. 3200, 320 x 10. Durability. 160,000, 160,000, 16,000 x 10. Special abilities. Thorn Reflection, Automatic Repair. Thorn Reflection. When attacked by an enemy, 1% of the enemy's attack is reflected back as true damage. Automatic Repair. When attacked, it restores 1% durability per hour. When not attacked, durability recovery doubles per hour. The Lord's Own fence had no defense, only durability, and at level 1, it already had 32,000 durability, plus 2 special abilities. Not bad. The upgrade, however, made Li Chenxiao's heart twitch. The territory's current level is 5, with an area of 48,000 square meters. Just upgrading to level 2 would cost over 1.5 million Void Source Stones. It's unknown whether he can even obtain 1.5 million Void Source Stones from now until the end of the trial. This is simply a gold-devouring beast. However, you get what you pay for. Void Source Stones can be obtained sooner or later, but high-quality Lord buildings are very difficult to acquire. It just means slower upgrades. Li Chenxiao understood this principle. Currently, Li Chenxiao felt both pain and joy. After taking care of these matters, Li Chenxiao returned to the small wooden house to rest. The next day, at 6 a.m., before dawn, Li Chenxiao woke up early. Yu Yao was no longer in bed. Li Chenxiao stretched, still a bit groggy, and walked out. Only after washing up did his mind clear a little. Looking around, he saw the cool and beautiful Yue Palace disciples already patrolling the stone walls. Li Chenxiao went directly to Jade Nectar Pavilion, intending to have some breakfast, and happened to see Yu Yao there. As soon as Li Chenxiao entered the hall, Yu Yao sensed him and, looking at the approaching Li Chenxiao, said in surprise, "Young master, why are you up so early today? Why don't you sleep a bit longer?" Li Chenxiao walked straight over and said with a smile, "Without a beauty by my side, I can't sleep peacefully." Upon hearing this, Yu Yao's face showed a shy expression as she said, "Young master always teases me." After their favorability exceeded 90, the feelings between Li Chenxiao and Yu Yao were also gradually warming up, and an occasional joke was harmless. Looking at the shy Yu Yao before him, Li Chenxiao's heart stirred. He took out the necklace from yesterday and said, "Yue, this is the necklace that dropped yesterday. See if you like it. As long as it's from young master, I'll like it," Yu Yao said in a voice as soft as a mosquito's, so low that Li Chenxiao, if not standing very close, would barely have heard what she said. Wearing the necklace, Yu Yao was even more beautiful than usual, and Li Chenxiao was momentarily captivated. Suddenly, a piece of information flowed through his mind. Yu Yao is grateful for the gift from the Lord. Favorability +2. Current favorability, 93. After finishing breakfast with Yu Yao, Li Chenxiao took her to Myriad Realms Goddess Palace. He now had over 120,000 Void Source Crystal and wanted to see if he could summon Lian Xing. Through their interactions over the past few days, although Yu Yao hadn't said anything, Li Chenxiao could tell that she still missed her sister. Inside Myriad Realms Goddess Palace, Li Chenxiao sat alone at a table, first placing 1,000 Void Source Crystal on it. He decided to try a low-level summon to test his luck. Li Chenxiao's heart stirred, and he chose to summon. The next moment, a colorful scroll appeared above the table. The scroll slowly unfurled, revealing various figures. Drawing. The figures in the scroll began to glow and spin rapidly. Soon, the light and shadows stopped. Prompt. Obtained 1 bag of Da-mi rice. Li Chenxiao saw the bag of Da-mi rice on the table and instantly felt a bit exasperated. There's even this kind of operation, he thought, then continued to summon. -1,000. -1,000. -1,000. After more than 10 consecutive attempts, the scroll kept flashing, but there were no good items. It was either Da-mi rice or vegetables, and Li Chenxiao was almost going crazy. Li Chenxiao directly activated a high-level summon. Void Source Crystal 10,000. Prompt. Obtained, satin embroidered skirt. Looking at the skirt on the table, Li Chenxiao's face darkened. 10,000 source crystal just for this. Although he knew it was based on luck, his luck seemed a bit too bad. Over 20,000 source crystal had gone down the drain just like that. Li Chenxiao gritted his teeth and continued. Minus 10,000. Minus 10,000. Minus 10,000. When Li Chenxiao was somewhat numb from drawing, suddenly, a figure appeared opposite him. Obtained hero Lin Chaoying. In an instant, the scroll vanished, and on the chair opposite Li Chenxiao, a woman slowly appeared, dressed in a grand red wedding gown, phoenix coronet, and embroidered cape. She had an extremely beautiful face, with delicate eyebrows that reached her temples, a beauty capable of toppling nations. Her eyes were tightly closed, seemingly receiving information from the Lord Era. It was her. Lin Chaoying was a legendary woman who founded the ancient Tomb sect. She was the only woman at that time who could overpower the other four greats and rival the leader of the five greats. Although there aren't many descriptions of her, the ancient Tomb sect she founded later became very famous, which shows her extraordinary talent. However, she was infatuated with Wang Chongyang her entire life, but they never ended up together, which led to her dying of melancholy in the ancient tomb. A legendary woman thus faded away. But he hadn't heard of her getting married, so why was she wearing a wedding gown? Li Chenxiao opened Lin Chaoying's attribute panel. Lin Chaoying. Identity. Hero. Race. Human. Quality. Golden Legend. Level. 101,600. Favorability. 70. Bloodline. Netherworld Bloodline +1. Talent. Jade Maiden Pure Heart +1. Skills. Jade Maiden Heart Sutra. Golden Bell Rope Technique. Jade Maiden Swordplay. Welcoming Breeze Sweeping Willows. Beauty Fist Technique. Exclusive Troops. Ancient Tomb Sect. Bond. Four Greats of the Ancient Tomb. Constitution. 2100 Base Attribute 32x5x10 plus 10x5x10. Spirit. 2100 Base Attribute 32x5x10 plus 10x5x10. Netherworld Bloodline, +1. Bloodline Quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1, for every +1 in quality, ability doubles. For example, Netherworld Bloodline, +5, freezes enemies for 15 seconds. Attribute. Attacks carry a freezing effect on enemies, initial freeze 3 seconds. Jade Maiden Pure Heart, +1. Talent Quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Attribute. Jade Maiden Pure Heart has 9 layers, enhancing mental resistance. Each layer increases mental resistance by 10%, up to a maximum of 90%. Jade Maiden Heart Sutra. Skill Quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Jade Maiden Heart Sutra has 9 layers. Each additional layer increases the hero's base constitution and spirit by 10 points multiplied by the current hero's level. For example, if the hero is level 15 and Jade Maiden Heart Sutra is at 5 layers, the increase would be 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 plus 50 x15 x10. The latter 10 is a territory characteristic, meaning constitution and spirit each increase by 22,500. Jade Maiden Heart Sutra trait. When cultivated to the 9th layer, a transparent true chi shield appears around the body. The shield's defense is 10 times the current hero's spirit. Golden Bell Rope Technique. Skill Quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Golden Bell Rope Technique has 9 layers. Each additional layer grants an extra Golden Bell Rope, which can entangle enemies, capable of simultaneously trapping up to 9 people. Jade Maiden Swordplay. Skill Quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Jade Maiden Swordplay has 9 layers. Each additional layer increases weapon attack by 10%, and an additional identical sword shadow appears. When cultivated to the highest layer, each swing of the sword unleashes 10 sword shadows, capable of area of effect attacks. Welcoming Breeze Sweeping Willows. Skill Quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Welcoming Breeze Sweeping Willows has 9 layers. Each additional layer increases movement speed by 100 meters per second and adds a phantom image. Beauty Fist Technique. Skill Quality. Golden Legend, Initial 1. Beauty Fist Technique has 9 layers. Each additional layer, upon hitting an enemy, reduces the enemy's constitution and spirit by 10% and decreases their recovery speed. Ancient Tomb Sect. Troops Quality. Golden Legend. Summons Ancient Tomb Sect disciples from any time and space. 4 Greats of the Ancient Tomb. Bond Quality. Golden Legend. Bond Attribute. When Lin Chaoying, Xiaolongnu, Li Mocho, and Huang Shannu are all present, constitution and spirit increase by 100%. When any three are present, constitution and spirit increase by 50%. When any two are present, constitution and spirit increase by 30%. When only one is present, there is no increase. Seeing Lin Chaoying's attributes, Li Chenxiao couldn't help but feel a surge of joy. She and Yu Yao were virtually on par. Yu Yao leaned towards nighttime, with stronger combat power at night and damage reflection, while Lin Chaoying leaned towards crowd control, capable of freezing enemies for up to 12 seconds. However, looking at the more than 10,000 void source crystal he had left, Li Chenxiao's heart twitched. It was truly decades of hard work, only to return to square one in an instant. But being able to summon Lin Chaoying was worth any price. It was just that Lian Xing hadn't been summoned this time, which Yu Yao must be quite disappointed about. While Li Chenxiao was lost in thought, a voice sounded in his ear. Lin Chaoying of the ancient tomb sect greets young master. Hearing this, Li Chenxiao also cupped his hands towards Lin Chaoying and said, Miss Lin, there's no need for such formality. Welcome to the Lord Main World. I hope for your guidance in the future, Miss Lin. Li Chenxiao asked curiously, Miss Lin, from what era do you come from? I haven't heard of Miss Lin getting married, so why are you wearing a wedding gown? Young master knows my origins. Lin Chaoying asked in surprise. Li Chenxiao chuckled, I know a little. Precisely because I know, I'm quite curious, hence the question. Please don't take offense, Miss Lin. If it's inconvenient for you to speak, then consider that I didn't ask. Lin Chaoying said, there's nothing that cannot be said. Since young master knows my origins, you should know my story. Because of my infatuation with Wang Chongyang, I became melancholic, and during my cultivation, I accidentally suffered a qi deviation, sustaining severe injuries that were beyond cure. Feeling that my life was short, I put on my prepared wedding dress before I died, but who knew that in the blink of an eye, I would arrive in this place. Hearing Lin Chaoying say this, Li Chenxiao didn't know what to say. They were originally a destined couple, but the final outcome was one dying of melancholy and the other remaining unmarried for life. One could only say that life is unpredictable. Li Chenxiao said, Miss Chaoying, there's no need to worry. In the Lord world, anything is possible. Perhaps in the future, we can go to your world, and by then, I will surely make you a divine couple. Lin Chaoying shook her head and said, Thank you for your kindness, young master. I have already died once, and many things have become clear to me, especially matters of emotion, which cannot be forced. In my final moments, I reflected on my life and realized that my feelings for Wang Chongyang were not love, but merely admiration for a strong individual. After all, in that era, he was the only one who could surpass me. Pausing for a moment, Lin Chaoying continued, past events have all dissipated. There is no Lin Chaoying of the ancient tomb sect, only Lin Chaoying of the Lord world. Li Chenxiao didn't say anything further. Looking at Lin Chaoying, he said, your phoenix coronet and embroidered cape are not very convenient. I just drew a few sets of clothes, you can find some time to change. With that, he took out 2 sets of clothes and handed them to Lin Chaoying. I'll listen to young master, Lin Chaoying said, reaching out to take them. Let's go, I'll take you to meet Yuei. She's a hero I summoned a few days ago. Li Chenxiao finished speaking and turned to walk out. After going outside, he introduced Lin Chaoying and Yu Yao to each other. The moment Yu Yao saw Lin Chaoying, a hint of sadness flashed in her eyes, but she quickly put on a smile and took Lin Chaoying's hand, walking towards the territory. Thanks for watching.